Так, всем привет. Началась уже эта движуха вся, поэтому сейчас я быстренько... Сейчас. Все, тут уже базарить, короче, начали. Сейчас я сделаю захват экрана. Наверное, да? Да, я сделаю захват экрана. Чё? Давайте окна, может, сделаем захват. Ну, вот это должно идти, нет? Нет, не идти. В смысле? Как это работает? Что, давайте захват экрана сделаем. Ну, типа тут уже должно быть что-то, но я почему-то не вижу. Не вижу у тебя на стриме этого. Но оно типа началось уже. Чё? Технические неполадки, как всегда, в принципе. Нормально же все, нет? Не нормально? Ну, нормально. А почему захват экрана нету экрана, алё? В смысле, блядь? Господи. Опача. О, наконец-то он показывает. Все, понеслась. Сейчас чуть по настройкам сделаю немножко по-другому, а то оно что-то как-то, бля, странно. В смысле 1900? Господи, из-за чего он лагает? Бля. Сейчас я сделаю по-другому. Я сделаю вот так. А это нахер. Все, оно теперь должно идеально просто идти. Бля. Да, но оно еще больше начало лагать. Давай быстрее. Ну, тут в любом случае пока еще ничего не происходит, поэтому они базарят тут о чем-то. Часоваль на 60 FPS, 1280. Ой, 1900. Короче, Full HD. Все. Сейчас на прямой эфир вально. И все, и должно уже не лагать. По крайней мере, надо, чтобы меня уже слышно было. Че они там базарят? Пока оно отвисало, то я понял. Все, убирай эту хрень. Бля, ну что за дичь? Наконец-то. Все, получается, тут у нас что? Тут у нас... Ладно, в любом случае они хоть что-то говорят. Давайте чуть погромче сделаем. Ты ни хера не слышишь. Короче, если кто не знает, то сегодня типа будет следующий этап. То есть сегодня ENCE с RENEGATES дерутся за четвертьфинала. И еще этот, как там его? И как их там, Vitality и Авангар. Как бы тут больше люди склоняются за то, что выиграет ENCE, конечно. Ну, и я тоже больше склоняюсь, потому что они прошли 3-0, как бы, ну, к сожалению, RENEGATES нет. Но я бы хотел такую наклейку себе. Они будут базарить на английском языке, но я, если что, буду тоже комментировать немножко этот матч. Из-за чего-то оно... Блин, этот Steam TV меня не очень... Давайте, может, вторая доступна вообще? Я понял. Я хочу просто включить ее так, чтобы она, блядь, не лагала. Почему она лагает, я не понимаю. Секунд. Все, наконец-то, все, пошли нахер. Блять, я не понимаю, что надо этому дерьму. Нет, Steam TV это... Тут как бы все нормально. У меня еще этого сраного... Здрасте, я понял вас. Окей, давайте я запущу оперу, через нее будет лучше, потому что мне кажется, что, блядь, этот Google ебучий нихера вообще не делает. Ладно, окей, давайте... Давайте с Твича посмотрим, какая разница, в принципе. Там тоже будет идти эта трансляция. Ну, как бы, а что делать? Это на русском. Не, на русском я не хочу. На русском оно будет перебиваться. Можно не на русском?
Неожиданно для всех, оказывается, подготовили и авангард к этому турниру. Поэтому, ну, там было Best of 1 тоже максимально близко.
Авангард неожиданно, они ее все время играли, я помню, мы даже с ними играли на каком-то турнире, с ними тоже 16-14 проиграли, кстати. Имею в виду, что они ее...
Бля, ну боже, ну быстрей, ну я не понимаю, что не так. Наконец-то. И опять русский включается. В смысле русский, блядь? Я не включал русский StarLadder, алло.
Не видели Вертига от авангард, то есть они до этого еще не заявили всем, что мы готовы, что мы играем.
Кстати, это очень был смарт мув от RENEGATES, нужно это отметить, что они как бы раздуплились, поняли, что на этом можно выехать, и, собственно, вот этим мувом...
Вот, наконец-то, наконец-то. Оно сейчас через 8 лет загрузит, и все будет нормально. Все, отлично.
Today versus the Renegades will help a lot of people get their head around it. I mean, Alu dropped some insane amount of frags, and it was 16-7, 16-10 versus Vitality. This wasn't even a close series.
What was impressive is the Dust 2 win for me though, right? Because Dust 2 has been a problem map for ENCE. Somewhere like their B-bomb site gets exploited, they explode onto it. You saw that in the last major, it was a little bit of a problem. But you watched that game, they were prepared for it. They changed some of their protocols, they Molotov dark and then follow it with a nade, and then they get the smoke down before the Molotov disappears. All these little details, they tweaked and look really good. So their prep and their practice for this must be on point because they've found the problems, they've made them better, and that's the thing with ENCE. We talk about this team as a stable foundation, you know, they have the fundamentals of Counter-Strike down. Well, they're playing to that, and their individuals are playing well, so that's when they're the most scary.
Yeah, just a lot of people acknowledging how good they look, and of course we'll get to see them. That's our first game of the day, will be ENCE versus Renegades. The second, though, and one that I want to talk about, especially now we've referenced their loss, the Frenchman's loss to ENCE, is Vitality. It's a very interesting conversation that I think we'll have to save ourselves for another time. Instead, though, we can just start acknowledging the fact that I just turned around and suddenly there's a crowd. They've arrived again. I mean,
they're quiet in here.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They've got to kind of warm up into the Mercedes-Benz arena, as do I, as I try and just remind everyone.
It's a massive sports scene. It's not like some furniture store or something.
It does seem like somewhat of a library, you know, Fallen perhaps arriving. But anyway, let's get this show started.
Короче.
Will be the next. Renegades.
The perfect weapon for the job! Oh, satisfaction! A flurry of frags. He's done his part.
Energy.
And no one is using the bomb yet. He sees one. Oh, he flicks. He gets the kill. Now at one. Can he save it? Can he get the double OT? Third! You've got to be kidding me! He takes down every single one!
Team Vitality.
Set up there, actually. It should have been working out great, but RPK takes two with the Deagle. Valve now coming for him, but he's going to go down as well. A triple kill.
Avant-Garde.
Perch the back of the line. What was that? A double kill from nowhere. No right. And has to be a 1v2 for Sandy's transfer. He's done it!
Team Liquid.
As Nitro swings out the big bomb site. He allows him to have control. The sniper not below the bomb. And absolutely denied those.
Natus Vincere.
Nimble! I think that was a double through the smoke.
Oh my god, Electronic annihilates, savages the push.
Astralis.
Great lineup, leaving Sip alone in a 1 versus 2. He's out the shots, if it's commits, he's got the headshot, and he's got it! What are they doing? They're not finding the bomb? No. No. Oh, please not. This can't be real. How have they done that?
Welcome on stage, Gabi. The StarLadder Major.
Berlin! Berlin, are you with me? No, come on! That's what I'm talking about. Excuse me, gentlemen. Excuse me for just 1 second. We've got a special guest in the house. Make some noise for Frankfurt's finest, Gabi! Gabi, legend of the game. Now you get to put this trophy right here in the middle of all of these teams. Talk to me about being where you are right now today.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here along these all great IGLs, and to be here in Berlin is always a pleasure for me, and in front of home crowd, everything couldn't be better, to be honest.
Couldn't be better. I mean, Mercedes-Benz Arena's rocking all weekend long, I think, but I gotta ask you right now, Gob, out of all these guys, I want you to look them right in their eyes. Who's gonna win this major?
If I need to pick one, I would take Liquid.
Ooh, we got Liquid fans in the house? Not a fan favorite, Gob. I do appreciate you, though. That's completely fine. That's not a big deal. I appreciate you coming out here, and I appreciate all 8 of you being around here. We got to get a major under the way, so I'm going to have to ask you guys to step off the stage. Thank you very much for Gabi, everybody. Gabi! Ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge opportunity amongst us today. It's a big day, not just for me, not just for you, not just for production and the staff and the admins and the players. Everybody, this is the 15th major ever. This is a big day, and you all, even you at home, you all helped to make this happen. Berlin, I need you to roar. Berlin, let me get a yeah. Let me get a yeah, bull. All right, all right, all right. You guys ready for some Counter-Strike? I'm not feeling it personally. I think you guys, are you ready over here? What about on this side? I think they got you beat. Let's meet these quarterfinalists. Quarterfinalists, please.
Welcome on stage. Quarterfinal. ENCE versus Renegades.
The ice-cold Finns, untouched, undefeated, exemplary professionalism shown from them so far, and now facing up against the Renegades. Back against the ropes since their first 2 best-of-1s. It was back-to-back-to-back best-of-3s that brought the Aussie mix here. And so far, top 8 And they really are buying, and even converting analysts, believing that they can take this to the big dogs.
The reverse sweep, I don't want to say I told you so, but I have a little bit of pride here today. And normally I'm not biased. Normally I predict against the Renegades, but that's going to change. And
tell me why.
I just want to throw this out there. It's the only stat I care about. It's the only one that's going to matter, is that Renegades have never lost to ENCE before in a major. Back in 2015 as well, me, Juzzy, Aaron, we beat Alu and Natu and his boys. Natu didn't show up, he had to go to a wedding, but it didn't matter, they lost anyway. And I have so much confidence that the Renegades have emotion that the Finns don't, that matters when you get on a stage like that, that matters to get past this, and they're going to wield that as a weapon against the Finns, and maybe send all these people who came out here to celebrate home a little bit early.
Okay, so not only supporting the boys, but doubting ENCE on that stage.
Cheering against the fans who came in to cheer against them.
There's just lots of Finns here, you know?
Chad did wear a jersey on a previous segment of this tournament.
I didn't see it. Did he really?
I didn't see that, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people actually didn't see it. So.
Yeah, that's why we got Sliggy here, so maybe this time round. But look, I think going into this one here, I'm not delusional. ENCE are obviously the favourites. ENCE are clearly the favourites. I say some stupid things. Most things I say are stupid. But going into this game, they have Renegades covered in the veto, in my opinion. They don't play Vertigo. You have to keep that in mind. That's one of Renegade's strengths to even get to this point. They've been here. They've gone further. They've made it to a grand final. They have the experience. They should have Renegades covered every day of the week.
From a Counter-Strike standpoint, when you've covered the Renegades game, Sean, are you still seeing what often is described as kind of messy, clear, well-thought-out Counter-Strike, or have they managed to polish it up coming into the top 8?
They have polished it up a little bit, but their performers aren't really typical when you consider Renegades of the past, right?
Certainly.
JKS hasn't put up the numbers that we expect from him, whereas Liaz, on the other hand, is probably overperforming, if you ask me. So this version of Renegades is much different than the prior ones I've seen. Their map pool is deep, but versus ENCE, I don't know.
Versus ENCE, and actually with them on our screens, it's focused on the Finns. Duncan, I'll give you the Lions task of handling ENCE esports.
Yeah, well, I think the interesting thing is, obviously at the last major, they were supposed to go out in the round of 8. They were not supposed to be a team that could make the final. Now a lot of people tipping them to possibly make that final, especially because remember, if they meet Vitality in the semi-finals, they already won that match at this tournament. So now you actually have to go the other way. They're in some senses a favourite. They have the pressure upon them. The Renegades actually are the guys who are coming back trying to make their first semi-finals. So I think if you look at ENCE, people did jump the gun when they heard the news about LXCB. Like, they already wrote them off. Dead team walking. First of all, anyone who's followed Counter-Strike for a long time knows that can take the pressure off your shoulders. At that point in time, you think, hey, whatever happens, happens. And actually, LXCB has absolutely fragged out in this tournament. Like, if he wanted to put himself in the shop window, he's done a fabulous job, which makes me even wonder, since they're implying internally, maybe he isn't always the in-game leader, or Ali takes some of the duties. Maybe he freed him up a little bit. It's his last tournament.
Yeah, I was afraid he wouldn't show up. He's the 5th highest rated player in that previous Legends stage. While ENCE has looked extremely solid strategically, they look like nothing has changed at all. So I mean, sure, the Finnish teams always show very little emotion, but it's actually insane what they've managed to do.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's got a lot of us beaten, a lot of us that, you know, sometimes attribute the emotion and how that will influence the game. ENCE just kind of shut us up for a second and say, no, look what we can do.
We can play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And that's what they did very well. I think one thing to note from the last time they were at a major was X7 played out of his mind, right? Sure. Him during that playoff stage was a monster. I want to see if he can replicate that, because he becomes a big stage player if he can, right? He's not somebody they need, but when he can show up in these environments, it's great.
I cut you off before, Sean, but with them on the screens, you can continue saying that not the most likely subjects have showed up so far.
Yeah, so far JKS is like a middle performer for Renegades, but Jacob and Liaz, on the other hand, have been putting in work when you watch the Renegades play. They've come up huge. I mean, Liaz has had so many important, pivotal clutches, actually, that he dragged them over that phase series, in my opinion.
He's tied with Zipnix for 7 clutches in the tournament thus far, I believe. But so
the boy who clutched.
It's not a bad stat line to have right there, but that's what he was known for in Australia. He was, when JKS was over in the US, Liaz was the next JKS. Now, I think Justin's role has changed. You see him doing more double LARPing. He's more aggressive in certain situations. He used to be the most passive player back in the day. So you can see how these individuals are all shifting here. But I need more impact from Gratisfaction. Him on the AWP, he doesn't look like they build around him. It doesn't look like they set him up, but he needs to know that the positions he's in, we need to see 2 from him. He can't just be getting away with 1. And another condition for Renegades in this series right here is the force buys. They force buy regardless. CTT side, it doesn't matter. But their conversion rate in this tournament is so bad. It's 9.1%.
Of force buys?
That's not great for them at all. Whereas,
Sub 10?
Yeah, ENCE on the other side of things, they will force buy on the T side. On the CT side, they normally respect their opponent, take that full eco, get the 3rd gun round in. But versus Renegades, I've seen versus some of their games in the past, they don't respect them. They'll go for the force buy on the CT side. They'll take it to them because I think they think they're better.
One angle, actually, that I do think is a potential mismatch in this one is, though, when you talk about like that cool, steely nature of the Finns, one of the things that impressed everyone when they burst out the gate is they weren't getting rattled in these big games against Team Liquid and Astros. They held their nerve. Problem is, the Renegades on the other side, they have lost a lot of 14, 16 games, 13, 16 games. If you get to that point of the game, that's where I feel as though, just in terms of psychological factors, you give a little bit of the edge to ENCE.
The most incredible thing from the last major, in my opinion, was X7 winning that one-on-one against Simple, and he looked like a stone-cold killer.
Yeah,
literally no reaction at all.
Fun info, we actually got the veto happening live. The players are doing it on the stage as we speak, so take a look and understand while they do.
Bans make sense.
Yeah,
that's what we expected.
The Mirage pick from Renegades is exactly what you'd expect, and the Nuke pick from ENCE is also what you'd expect.
Here's the thing though, Sean, I'm going to say this. That Nuke pick to me actually suggests that ENCE is respecting Renegades, because if they wanted to just go with their strength, you go with Train, it's available right now.
They have been picking Nuke though in prior series, and from what I saw when Renegades played Nuke earlier in this event, it was terrible.
Oh, it was so bad.
It was so bad.
Yes.
They allowed FaZe to get down the
clearly.
vents every round without any information. JKS struggled at ramp in that game as well.
Dust 2 would be a sexy one right here, boys.
So it's Mirage is picked already.
Because they really want to... listen, they both like Train as well, but the choice is the Renegades. If I'm Renegades, I'm definitely taking Dust 2 at this point in time. It's been a weak enough map for the guys from ENCE.
Yeah, I would really like to see Renegades go towards
And it's a
Dust
ballsy
2.
pick. You said, listen, we can out-frag you as well.
I know that Kassad is confident with Renegade's Train,
There we
however.
go.
Okay, there's the respect. So Dust 2 is as the third. Look, if we go all the way, you favor Renegades on Mirage, right? You think that Renegades are going to get blown out of the water on Nuke, but then Dust 2 is where it starts to look like a 50-50.
That's a coin flip.
It does. Yeah. It's a total coin flip. And we've seen Renegades play against NRG, who is a very strong Dust 2 team in this tournament. They should have won that game.
16-14, they lost, what was it, 3 or 4
So
rounds
many
to
eco
Deagles.
rounds, yeah.
That's another thing they have to clean up, right? When they do win these pistols, they have to be converting the second as well, because ENCE are going to take everything. They're going to take any inch. They have all these setups. They have all this preparation. Renegades have looked very flustered in the dicey scenarios, right? If they lose a player early, they start to get flustered. They all stop. They stand still. No one takes initiative.
Starts to rot.
And then they run in on the last 30 seconds and they just get multi-kill. We saw that happen on Vertigo, Sanji with the CZ. We're getting destroyed.
Take a look at the amount of Mirage we've seen from ENCE.
Yeah.
I imagine that's not painting the most fair picture.
No, Duncan doesn't like seeing that. He's a man that likes seeing a lot of maps played, and that's
I think that actually
alarming.
makes it a good pick to take right there. Like they don't have a lot shown themselves.
Yeah.
I know people always say, yeah, but in scrims, we were working on it. Like scrims are so different from an official game. Like the comfort you have from look how many Renegades have. What, they have 6 or 7 games, almost double the amount. So I'm going to be way more comfortable against anyone.
I mean, ENCE looked super comfortable last major on Mirage, but like you said, in these last 3 months, that was a long time ago. And yes, it is the same lineup, but metas change, and you can see right now it's not up there in their map pool.
Well, you've heard what we're saying about this game. Why don't we hear what the players had to say about this quarter-final? ENCE versus Renegades. Let's hear from ENCE first.
I'm actually so proud of the guys because when we played the 2 weeks, the practice, I was proud already over there how the practice went because I was so sure that we'll have so much issues and so little time to fix everything. But I was so proud already, and I just hope that they can transfer it from there to this. And the first game I was a bit nervous like how it will go, but those guys, they're professional. I just raised my hat for them, and after that I saw the first match, how they coped with it, how they played that, how their mindset was, and communication, everything. I knew that we're gonna do a good run over here. It was a surprise for me how Renegades played, like overall this tournament. And I'm actually happy for them because they have been struggling so much. And I do think that the match, our game, it will be a really tight game. I think they're so hyped now that they're here, and because of going like from 0-2 to the playoffs, that's like huge boost. I know that. So which team will get the most pressure will lose the match. So we have to keep our heads calm and hope that they will fail. I think we'll have to face them in a way that they're a different team that they have been for the past months. We have to keep in mind that they are a very strong team, and if you play against them with the mindset how they have played so far, not in this tournament but before, then most likely you will get the upper hand in that case. So we have to play against them that they are like a real threat, and they are doing so well. There is a reason why they are in playoffs. We have to feel it that in a way we are the underdogs and then go from there. When I watch the players, And even though I see their emotions and everything, I really don't like register it into my mind. I only watch what he's doing in the game, and that's it. Nothing else like concerns me, because he can be a player who hypes, and he can be like, you know, who doesn't like show emotions, whatever. That's outside of the game for me. I just want to see how he plays, what he does.
A clear understanding from the coach Twister about separating emotion from the mechanics, and so far ENCE have displayed phenomenal prowess in that department. They do clearly look honed in, and some of the stats for them. Alexi B, what a performance he's had so far here in the tournament.
No, especially because on their team, some of the squads they've been going against, ENCE, you used to say, fragging's not really their department. Like, they're tactical, they've got a nice map pool, great team play, great mentality. Well, the guy that you expect to be a big fragger is this guy. And last playoffs, when X7 was stepping up, Sergey was disappearing, despite the fact they went all the way to the finals. So this young 17-year-old guy, Sergey, he's the best player in the team. He needs to be the superstar. And against a team like Renegades, I think if he turns up, it's a little bit too much from the handle.
And you can see this is a different Sergey than we saw previously, like at the last major, right? He's aggressive. He's making plays. When we saw that opening game against Avangard, he was up in the bathrooms on Overpass, constantly just disrupting their flow, and that's why they were just able to destroy them.
They really did, and I mean, going up against them, you heard from Twister himself talking about the Renegades and how he acknowledges that they're here for a reason, Chad. Which individuals need to be that reason here on the stage today?
Look, going into this right here, I think it has to just be... Look, I don't know. I'm a little bit lost, Alex. I don't usually get lost for words in these scenarios.
Surely.
Yes, of course. You know, but I think Aaron is the one who needs to step up. Azza, right, the in-game leader, because I know that he has the potential to still be a fragger. He's taken over the in-game leadership role. It's really hampered his stats. It hasn't looked good. And the reason I'm struggling here is because Renegades are the only team who have never made it to the playoffs before. Sorry, they've only made it one time to the playoffs before, and they have nobody here who's ever made it to, you know, a major grand final. They've never progressed past this point. They have the least amount of experience on their squad. So this, for them, it's hard to, you know, separate which player or who needs to step up more than anybody else. It just has to be the whole unit.
Treat it like a unit, and we're actually going to focus on them now and hear their statements coming into their quarterfinal.
Our preparation for this major was pretty much exactly the same like for the last one. Maybe a little bit shorter because of the player break. For the playoffs, I feel like that we need to spend more time talking than actually practicing. So that will be the main focus in the next 3 days. Just talking more and like with that, like fixing our mistakes. Being able to go from 0-2 to 3-2 in an event like this, I think it shows that we are a true unit. There is no there is not a single individual that is like, you know, kind of stands out. We're just trying to be like as a unit and act as a unit and play as a unit and just be a true team. So we're facing ENCE in the quarterfinals, and I feel like that's the opponent that suits us. We always like playing against them, and we have no pressure at all facing them, even though in theory they're the favorites against us. How would I describe each of the ENCE players? Cold-blooded, maybe lack of emotions, but super skilled and very confident. What's going to be the key factor in this game against ENCE? I think it's going to come down to confidence, communication for us, and just making fewer mistakes than them, I guess. So we're kind of looking forward to the game.
The coach of the Renegades, Kassad, letting you know that they are just fingers on a fist, each as integral to the damage as each other. And you can see Azza, in-game leader. We've seen an awful lot of him at the major circuit.
Yeah, and you look at this, right? When back in the day, he was one of the main stars of the team. This man right here, however, I think has become the main star of the team. He has the most experience. He's from Norway. He's one of the boys now, but he is the most consistent factor for Renegades over his entire time in that unit.
And I also think, like, I found it so interesting that both coaches at the end made the pivotal factor who makes less mistakes. They didn't say, like, we have to frag out, we're going to win our map. These teams both understand basically the psychological war I was talking about before. These are squads where they need to get everything out of their players. It's about team play, it's about tactics. So they're not one of these squads like a FaZe, Clan, Na'Vi, where, listen, if the big fraggers come, we can get away with mistakes.
Yeah, it's not like the match later today, right, where the teams aren't really experienced against each other. These teams have met 7 different maps this year, right? And the first 4 went to Renegades, the last 3 have gone to ENCE. And it is always about mistakes when you watch these two teams play.
I'm just looking at, the games you're referencing. I'm looking at the score lines, and it is 16-14, 16-12, 16-14, 16-13. These teams have been inseparable all year.
And I'll even throw in a little wrinkle. Listen, it looked favoured to ENCE when you saw the results there, but you have to remember, the Renegades guys were playing that summer run of tournaments without proper boot camp time. Obviously, Gratisfaction had his whole visa situation. Like, that wasn't necessarily peak form Renegades, whereas that was actually when ENCE was still in great form.
It sounds like I'm converting them a little bit.
It does
here,
sound
Alex,
like
no. I'm not buying it.
You're not picking up.
Get out of here.
Look, I was talking about that conversion rate, right? We've got the GGBet odds on the screen right now. They obviously favour ENCE quite clearly. They don't look at Renegades like they have a shot in this at all. And I look, experience-wise, you back ENCE in for sure. But matchup-wise, if we play this not in this arena, in the off-room, this is a matchup that is 60-40.
Those numbers are not correct.
Very
the 89-11, there's no way that ENCE wins 89% of the time.
The big problem, Chad, is it's that nuke game because everyone feels like that's going ENCE's way. So as a result, it's not like it's impossible for ENCE to win on Mirage. That's the big determinant one. I'm with you. If it goes to Dust 2, flip a coin, let's see who wins on that one. But I think the big Mirage game is the one that's going to decide Renegade's fate.
Oh, and that's the one we start with. We're not starting just yet. Players making their final preparations, and so are the fans as I hear a chant begin. Why don't we go ahead and see if we can get a microphone in one of those fans' faces?
That's exactly what we are about to do, Alex. Berlin, what's going on? Now, Chad, you put a tweet out, mate, and you were saying you wanted some Renegades fans. I found a fair few of them, but they're quite outnumbered by ENCE. We got Jaden down here. Jaden, you got a story for me. You've traveled. You are an Australian here. You've made the journey for your boys. What's going on? Talk to me.
Well, it seems to be that Finland immigrated their entire country here, but it doesn't matter because no matter what, the Australian boys, and regardless of what Spongy says, Australia's going to win this one. And Jacob, by the way, regardless, you're always going to be welcome because Australia is the place to be. Go the Renegade!
We got some real the boys moments coming over here. But Tonya, what do the ENCE fans have to say about that? Because they may have the numbers, but they sound a bit weak to me.
Yeah, we have the numbers. Thank you very much, James. I'm here with true ENCE fans. Am I right, guys? Can you believe that, guys? With true CSGO fans. I think we should do this louder, louder, louder. You see the Finnish flag. These guys is crazy. The crowd here is incredible. I really hope you guys feel the energy. James, what can you say about that?
Well, I can sit there, and there we go. I can sit there and say the ENCE chant is the most boring chant going. ENCE, ENCE. Come on, we need something better. I think the boys have got the really way for it to go, but there we go. Renegades, make some noise if you want them to win, because we're going back over to the desk.
Absolutely brilliant. Yes, there's plenty of fans. Certainly, ENCE have the majority, and it seems they have the majority of the expectations of our analyst desk. But you've certainly started the conversion process, Chad, for some people here in the arena and watching
It'll take
at home.
time.
Yeah, absolutely. Mirage, though, the point we made prior to hearing from the fans was that you think it really does hinge on that first map, Duncan. Do you want to explain your working there?
Listen, it's a map where I know historically you saw when they pulled out the record, they haven't played that much in the last few months. But again, as Sean said, you go back to the last major, they were beating Team Liquid on that map, which is a fantastic Mirage map team. So for me, again, they've got the tactics. In this particular matchup, they probably have a slight edge in terms of fragging, in terms of who you think is going to be the star player. If someone like Sergey, Alu takes over the game. So I think that's why I like the fact that both opponents acknowledge, like, we got the right person to play, basically. Like, this is the right matchup. It's not one-sided one way or another. No one's willing to say, like, we're going to smash them in this one area. So, for me, I think this is going to be a pretty close. This is a 60-40 probably for Renegades.
Oh, that's your POV. Of course, speaking of, if you want to go ahead and watch every single player's POV, you can do so by subscribing to this channel. Gives you access to the StarLadder Major Command Center, and you can check all the POVs, advanced stats, the minimap, and even customize your HUD. So that's available if you subscribe to the channel, the StarLadder Major Command Center for this one.
It's a good place to be. I think another good place to be is probably on the ENCE side of things, because gun round wise, you look at these teams toe to toe. Renegades, they're struggling against the anti-eco. So ENCE are going to have them covered when we have the guns. This is why for Renegades, I'm saying if they win the pistol, they have to convert. If they force buy, they have to convert. They can't be starting games, Alex, down several rounds. They need to make sure they get off there in a competitive way.
Keep it at level, keep the equilibrium, keep it running.
I couldn't agree more. Renegades is a game plan team, right? And if their early rounds crumble, I would see their whole half crumbling, right? They like to set up early mid defaults so that way it opens up the later bomb site hits.
I just can't wait to see more from Alu. He's been a bit of a badass. He's had a fire lit beneath him, and he's come in swinging, especially in that series versus Vitality. Now upgrading the stage. We'll see if he can upgrade his game. Player to watch for me, for sure. But one for ENCE, one for Renegades. Have you locked in your final answer yet, Duncan?
I'm going to say ENCE takes this series. I think, listen, I'll give Renegades the potential to win this map. It could be a great series. Let's get the dust too. Let's have some fun. But I do think, like, the quality is on the side of the ENCE guys. Renegades, listen, this may as well be Chad's funeral, because they're going to let him down one last time.
Is there an
You're looking sharp for your funeral, to be fair.
Yeah, look, I dressed up for the occasion.
Right there.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. ENCE versus Renegades. It's over to your casters. Let's jump in to the first game of the top 8.
Thank you very much, Alex. This is going to be incredible. What beautiful energy in the arena, James. Fans from both sides have made all the journey. We saw people even from Singapore. But here we go. We are off on Mirage. Renegades on that T side. And ENCE will be defending. ENCE going for a 2-1-2 split with their players. And it's going to be a nasty surprise for Sergey, James.
It is indeed. But pistols being what they are, just got to find the headshots. Got the grenades streaming into the site now. Going to be forced from their position. The flashbangs are up and Sergey is down. Area with a lot to do. He's got to get headshot at range, so low already. Box been dropped for the time being. The flashes are there. Ariel's still doing work. Outstayed his welcome, perhaps. CT is in control of the CTs for the most part. Jacob, though, looking to make a play. There's no flash for him. He pops out. That's one. Can he find the other one? No, not quite. LXCB holding position X7 now with a crossfire with his teammate. Renegades moving back towards the ramp and sandwich. There's a smoke up on the ramp now. Nice one from JKS. Moving behind the smoke, 1v1. LXCB with smoke and a defuse kit. The bomb's not planted for JKS. He realizes that. He's staying close. Does he see LXCB? There goes the smoke, but can LXC cross? He's waiting for the smoke to go. JKS realizes what could be happening at the moment. There he is. Going to the smoke now. Does he hold the defuse? Does a knife come out for JKS? Moving closer. Non-believer realizes what might be up. Very easy for him. And there is a pistol round for Renegades.
Fantastic stuff there for the Renegades. Great execution on the pistol. Box standard stuff, but I think, you know, we saw Sean, he set it up pretty well, gave us the expectation. If we want to see this upset, if we want to see Renegades having a really strong matchup, we want to see them taking control early on that T side, getting to kind of play the pace that they want to, as opposed to having ENCE dictating it to them. And, of course, ENCE, they have some decisions to make here. They may, of course, some teams would go for a force buy in this situation, but ENCE are actually going to opt for pretty much a full save. We've got a P250, but that's about it. And looking to go for a mid-push ENCE. Everybody charging up. Jacob's going to have some fun here with this MAC-10. There you go. Spray down. And he's got some company to finish it all off. Nice and easy there for round 2, but we are going to be back into the action quite quickly as ENCE will be ready for the buy.
Renegades with a really solid start. No one dying in that round is really awesome for them. Gives them some bonus money should they need it in the early stage. Now this chap on the screen, walking onto the stage, he looked like he was ready to murder his opponents. And now he has a chance to show us what he's able to do. No AWP just yet, no full buy. We've got X7 on the UMP. ENCE prioritizing the grenades. The utility will lead him to victory, in their eyes at least. Ali with a timing HE up top. Won't spot Jacob making his way up the short position. Jacob so important for Renegades on Mirage. Moving forward into that ladder room. This is a very fast take of ladder room. A minute 36 on the clock and Renegades have ladder and they've got presence on A ramp.
Yeah, they're going to be shutting down CD Spawn with that forward incendiary smoke. Aerial in trouble. Oh, wow, he actually manages to get a frag. That's pretty important. Let's see if they can do something. There's a huge gap there. I believe the smoke was messed up by the incendiary, so that's going to work out quite nicely for ENCE. And Renegades are now in this awkward spot. They do at least have that tower control due to JChem and jungle presence as well, so there is something to work with. But the MAC-10, a little not ideal against 4 rifles coming in. And ENCE will make themselves known from that ticket position. 3 players looking to push in all together. They got a couple, well, just one flashbang to make the move. Gratisfaction, that's a good start, but Sergey gets the trade.
Jacob waiting. He's got a position for the bomb plant. He's going to flash for his teammate. See if Azza makes a play with the MAC-10. Doing it for himself as well. LXCB taken out. Azza's just waiting. He can wide swing with the MAC-10 and be a real issue with Sergey in the red. He's got to be careful. Azza hears the bomb being touched. He's got to get the player off the bomb. Oh, he takes a bullet for the team, Sergey. He takes a bullet, and that allows the bomb to be defused. X7 with the UMP. X7 was by jungle while the rest of his team were towards CT for a while with that UMP, which is kind of awkward for him. Maybe he would have switched for an M4 with one of his teammates who was low, but either way, it works out. That was a beautiful play from Sergey. Went down on his sword for the team. Just ran distraction while a MAC-10 was trying to find the right angle. But again, that MAC-10 spray is going to be all over the place, so that one doesn't quite work out for Renegades. An early victory for ENCE.
Yeah, it could turn on his head, though, if Renegades are able to pick this round up. Alu goes quick into mid, though. Will be smoked to deter him. Might take a timing shot. Actually falls back, not wanting to give away the presence. Look at the speed here from this push. Oh my god! JKS annihilating X7 and Sergey in the palace position, whilst Renegades very aggressively and quickly take over the middle position. They have an insanely strong position on the map now and all the time in the world to work with.
This round, Alu started with the AWP, no Kevlar, and his job will get even tougher now with a lot of players alive, although that quickly changes from a 5v3 to a 3v3. Ariel trying to control at window position, but Azza was simply waiting, had the better angle, and now Ariel's dead. Alu forced to rotate. He may not want to scope in because he would concede his position. In the meantime, LXCP goes to have a look. There's so much time for Renegades at the moment. The bomb rotating towards there, you can see, and Azza just waits and punishes one by one. And there's another for Azza. 3 in the round from the same position, and Renegades reset ENCE immediately.
That was a great spot for sure for Renegades. You can see that Alu playing from ticket with the AWP. It's such a good position to deny a push through connector, and that's, of course, what slowed the round down. But Azza in that key position, punishing those rotations, ENCE trying desperately to get the information and getting punished time and again. Well played from Azza. We're seeing pretty much everybody on Renegades looking awake right out of the gate in this one. It's always been fun watching how consistent JChem has been on the team. He's been a standout performer time and again. And I cannot wait to see what Liaz can offer as well. For those of you watching the new Legends stage, Liaz really showed us his level with some insane clutches.
Yeah, we saw some peak performance from Liaz recently, and that was fantastic to see. And you could see what it meant to him as well if you look at what he was tweeting after the matches on Vertigo versus some teams earlier on in this tournament. They did it the hard way, as Sponge said, the reverse sweep Renegades. The anti-ecos are going well for them at the moment, and that's always, well, that's often been, for the longest time, one of the sticking points for the Renegade squad, either slowing them down or stopping them, is anti-eco rounds. But we've seen a change in them in this tournament. We've seen them be decisive, we've seen them be swift and brutal and merciless, and it's led them to this point where who knows how far they can go. They come into this as an underdog, but again, we've seen so many amazing plays from them. For those of you on GoTV, I think when Renegades moved to the CT side, both JChem and JKS, Double J's, they were so key on previous wins for Mirage. Their individual clutches were very numerous. But here we go, an aggressive play from ENCE towards the top mid position. No AWP this time, trying to fight for control, but Molotovs and flashes are going to be a problem. They're going to get flanked as well on the high ground from JChem, and here we go, he's activated already. 3 versus 3 with 1:35 on the clock. Renegades still have control of the bomb.
And once again, we have possession as well. Look at JChem go. Alu understands it, and even though it's a decent angle for him, he'll lose the battle against Alu lying in wait. Now, there's no utility on ENCE, and that's why they pushed middle. They had a pretty low utility buy in this round, and they didn't have the AWP to really work with as well, so they wanted to get that aggression straight away. But this is what happens. You play that late round, you've got nothing left in terms of utility. And Gratisfaction looking for the pick. He's been spotted now. They have to go. They have to go into the site. Time is of the essence. X7 is there by himself. They know that he's likely alone in this position. They have to find the frag and get the bomb down quickly. That's good work from Liaz, but it's not over just yet.
Alu moving into the short position. Ariel's gone past the window. I think he's just raised the alarm as to Liaz's position. But where is Gratisfaction? He's dead now, of course. Liaz now 1 versus 2. He's got a lot to do. We've seen him at peak performance. There's a flash, but Ariel has a better position. And there's a second round in the bag for ENCE. AWP rescued and all.
However, these rounds are really bloody for ENCE. They are losing all their players in these rounds that they win, and it's the same situation. And Renegades, they got the bomb down, and they've banked plenty of money here. So even though Renegades are going to be conceding that round, they're in an amazing position to keep hammering ENCE's economy. If they take all these weapons away, they take this buy away and win this round, ENCE are going to be in so much trouble as the momentum begins to really build for Renegades. This is the start that you wanted to see if you are a Renegades fan, for sure.
My GoTV picks for this are all CT-sided. Again, Renegades, JKS, and Jacob when they move to CT side, and Alu for this half. One of the stronger snipers on Mirage. Not an easy job. So look out for him later on. But Renegades look to have a quick play towards the B bomb site. Not quite a split, all coming in from the tunnel, but there are going to be counter grenades galore from the likes of ENCE. Here we go, Renegades charging themselves through the window, but are getting taken out. The CTs have got angles all over the place, and maybe there'll be no survivors, no frags whatsoever for Renegades. This has not gone the way we wanted. Alu with 2 frags at the end there. Renegades maybe trying to punish the shortcomings or exploit ENCE when they might not have a full buy just yet, but they didn't get a single frag. That's a perfect round for ENCE.
Yeah, you can see Renegades were really trying to put ENCE in weird positions with very fast timings, but this is what happens sometimes. You might not make the correct guess, and it just blows up in your face. And now again, Renegades are in this position still where ENCE have not stabilized, but that was the perfect round for ENCE to get some money in the bank and begin that process of stabilizing. And Renegades will swiftly lose their advantage if they're not careful. They have to make this round count. So previously we saw kind of a shock and awe play. I would expect to see things calm down now, James. I think Renegades will begin to see more normal T-side and Mirage with those defaults in mid.
Yeah, and I think that's an example of needing to sometimes sacrifice your primary weapon for grenades to control area when you've got issues like that. You need to have that counter molly when you hear the rush coming. You need to have that HE through the window while Renegades are bundled up in those tight choke points. But now they have a slightly better buy. No MP9 on this occasion. 2 AK-47s, and Alu is still here with the AWP. We'll have to keep an eye to see if he throws a Molotov into the window to ruin the smoke, which is consistently being thrown by Renegades. Flashbang over the top from Alu as Ariel moves into position. Alu can watch short while Ariel has looked below. It's a strong flashbang from top mid behind the barrels. Pretty solid job. Ooh. And the Renegades already have a player in the window now. This is something I think Jason was mentioning, that Renegades consistently boost in the window.
Oh my god.
And we've got the biggest flank. A minute 20 and Azza's in the market.
They have absolutely no idea, James. You almost never see a timing like this, never. And Azza's made his way all the way to the back of the B-bomb site, and they can take their time right now. They'll never suspect him in this position. There's a 3-1, but does he realize, do they understand there's one more player around the catwalk position? Alexi B is going to be holding that down, and the rest of the Renegades team will be moving through the B apartments into that B-bomb site. Talk about outmaneuvering your opposition. Azza, with that beautiful play there all the way through the flank. And look at this, ENCE, I don't know if they even want to go for this. They're so locked down and out in this occasion, and their money is not stabilized as they'd like just yet.
Yeah, it makes sense. Completely outmaneuvered. Would be very expensive and low percentage to try and retake that. No real significant position for ENCE in that situation. That was a lightning fast boost from Renegades, and I think that calls into question what I was saying about the Molotov, just limiting their ability to do that. I mean, first you have to have the money to do that. Ali's going to have the money on this occasion, but again, if they can throw a molly when that smoke is being thrown into the window, at least it'll cost Renegades some more utility, but that was super fast, and ENCE have got to realize what is going on there sooner rather than later.
I wonder if that's some counter-stratting coming in from Renegades, just understanding what some of the more likely defensive options will, that will be taken will be from ENCE, and perhaps that ENCE is a team that, and maybe we'll see it, will put more emphasis around connector ends and catwalk as we saw in that position, and completely gave up window after that position got smoked. So definitely something to look out for in the future rounds, but we'll see. Again, I love the pacing of this T side from Renegades. They're constantly mixing things up, trying to understand what they're up to. So far, I think if you're in ENCE's shoes, must be just simply impossible at the beginning of the round. There's no way to predict what they've been up to so far.
Yeah, Renegades have offered a lot of grenades into that mid position, the usual Molotov interconnector and so on, showing presence in mid, and you can see they've drawn ENCE in that direction. But now the Execute comes in towards the A-bomb site, and it's retake territory for ENCE. Maybe they boost between these two smokes, look out for that. Jacob's making his way towards bench in the meantime. There's always a few gaps in the corners. Got LXCP looking over, there won't be a boost just yet, but people know their sprays. Now there are issues for Renegades. They haven't managed to plant this bomb. These smokes are going to go, and their job's going to get a lot harder for them. Oh, what am I talking about? The bomb has been planted, excuse me. Jacob's been exploded. The retake is on for ENCE. They've got a lot of utility, but look at the rotation from Hazza. The bomb's been planted in a place where he can defend it, but LXCP is looking for this. He's moving up top mid, and he spotted him, and he swatted him.
Yeah, this is really bad right now because they're back. Renegades' backs are against the wall here. They didn't have any forward positioning. Great shot from Gratisfaction. Liaz as well coming in from Sandwich. Creates the space for Renegades to slam dunk this round. Again, they were in a lot of trouble there. They had no positions to fall back to. And ENCE had all the retake utility. That's the one downside when you go for those really fast A takes on the T side. Sure, you can get the bomb down and you can get the bomb side, but getting forward positioning, very difficult. And then the retake utility usually means the CTs will have a huge advantage coming back into that bomb side. But Renegades, James, we're seeing them step up individually right now, and it's remarkable.
I'm telling you, man, people's pick'ems, one way or another, are going to get bodied. It is really hard to make a solid call on a lot of the matches in this bracket. I didn't even notice the bomb had been planted. I thought he was trying to avoid getting shot, but he got it down just in time. That would have been a problem otherwise. So we've got a tactical timeout from ENCE. They are 3 rounds behind at the moment. Now, very importantly, ENCE, for Renegades that is, ENCE have not really been able to properly secure their economy just yet. They've been broken, they've been maimed, they've been weak, they've been missing a few things here and there. And that's really important for Renegades moving through the rest of this half. They're in a pretty good position. Gratisfaction's got 6K in the bank, which is always fantastic for your team, and your AWP's got lots of money. And on the flip side, ENCE have a few HE grenades, a few Desert Eagles, and a UMP. Now, I do wonder if the HEs are intended to go top mid, if there is a smoke on short, which there is. Nope, they're going to be 2 towards the ramp, and maybe a push from ENCE. We've got JKS in the palace. I don't know if he will hear these footsteps. So ENCE were fishing for something early, but didn't get much of anything.
Yeah, and these rounds, you know, sometimes you almost take them for granted, but ENCE, you know, they're trying to gamble. And Renegades, do they have in this routine of theirs a way to get the information? Because that's really the issue. You don't want to commit to a bomb site until you absolutely know that it's going to be somewhat safe or the safer site. As sometimes, you know, you can have these deadly stacks. A bunch of the Eagles at 5-7, the UMP, there's a lot of firepower there. And they are playing a lot of different corners altogether. So, of course, if Renegades were to go anywhere near the B-bomb site, there'd be problems. But ENCE don't also really have any way to deny the A site. So we can see that Renegades are taking this cautiously, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and they look like they're going to be good here, going to that A site now. And they've evaded the stack. The bomb's going to go down. And that's it. That the round should be over. But ENCE actually could try to play some aggressive exits here.
I like the boost over the bottom connector smoke, which you don't often see. Well, Gratisfaction must deliver. Misses that shot. The Molotov is really important for area control. LXCP falls, trying to pick up a rifle maybe. And now Ali with the AK. They did some damage, ENCE. Maybe it'll pay off. But Renegades, they've got to be targeting 10 rounds in the short term now. I think it's always good to have the short-term goals, the long-term goals. Get to 7. All right, boys, let's get to 10. Let's focus on that.
Well, one thing that Sean was saying on the desk is that Renegades have a very drilled set of, you know, their game plan is very drilled, and if that goes well for them, they set themselves up for the middle area of the half, and I think that's the period we're in now. ENCE can't really go as hard in mid because Renegades threaten these super fast plays towards the bomb sites. So we're going to see lighter defense on mid, like this round, for example. Alu does get himself out there, though, but he doesn't really have much support. Just LXCB from Catwalk, and Jacob's going to spot this play around the smoke. So, indeed, Renegades will have an easier time in middle.
Yeah, he must have heard Alu's scope there, and once he's heard that, then Alu's done for. Absolutely done for. And in that situation, you have to wonder if that's just a call they've made, because that is a very precarious situation for ENCE. And to lose your sniper like that, I think it's very unlike Alu to just be outside of smoke in the middle of mid, scoping in and out. This has really handicapped ENCE in a position where it's not a good start for them anyway. Sergey trying to survive. He won't get a flash or anything in time, but LXCB's putting in work as well from that short position. Looking to spray Liaz, who's got a lot of cover from that box. two CTs here. Now, see, Aerial is towards the ramp. Beautiful transfer from Azza. He's been a constant problem around this window. And he may have saved this round for his team. You can see Liaz rotating away, Aerial creeping forward. But once again, Azza's in a very strong position.
Yeah, and that really cuts off so much in the way of rotation for Aerial. And that means that Aerial can pretty much only be coming from one spot. Obviously, he could go into the B apartments, but Cat was probably more likely just because it's quicker to get there. However, there's that Molotov. Will there be any smokes? There's no smokes here for the T side. And there's some information now. So we get that rotation coming in from Azza. And all he has to do is delay. He needs his teammate to guarantee this. If he can guarantee a trade, this is impossible for Aerial. And that's what it is all about. As Aerial pushes forwards, he spots one. He's trying to create those 1v1s, but Renegades are denying him so far. And he's taking so much damage on the way to these frags. Oh, he made it close somehow. Liaz will take him out, though. And Renegades will secure the round. Another one for them, James. And it seems like ENCE are kind of struggling to understand what the answer is.
I really feel like maybe ENCE are nervous coming into this series, just the way the beginning of that round played out. Such a brittle situation for your sniper, who's so important for your team, to lose him in such a fashion immediately when you're already 4 rounds down in the first half. And once again, ENCE find themselves on pistols, on eco. The jump smoke for the window is out, and once again it's 5-7, Desert Eagle. CZ75's for ENCE. We've got some Kevlar picks up here and there, but there's not much really for them to offer. They've got maximum loss bonus, so they can spend those bits and bobs. We've got a 2-man push in Palace. We'll see if that makes a difference, but Renegade seem to be going towards B on this occasion.
Yeah, they've been so good at their mid control, like setting themselves up in mid and then playing forward positions from that and then understanding what the best options are. It's very difficult for ENCE. Alexi B or somebody needs to step up individually, and that's a nice catch from Alexi B. There's one down. The gun is not all that recoverable, and he knows it. Going to have to make this work with the CZ. Forced out by the Molotov. Oh my goodness, there's no punish. Picking up the weapon, that could have been dangerous, but JKS shuts it down as Sergey shuts down Gratisfaction, and he has the bomb.
Oh dear, looks like we might be heading back towards vintage Renegades in terms of anti-ecos, but maybe they can turn it around. Azza again in that window, holding down so much area. X7 just waiting. Almost a double pick there with Aerial, but now he's got the CZ and there are going to be too many man. Renegades didn't check the ladder room at all. They had a pop flash for short, but seemed to forget about the ladder. I don't know if they only had one flash or something, but these are fairly standard things. And with the speed at which they've taken ladder room in previous rounds, that is an issue which isn't going to cost them too much on this occasion. Again, we are in the late game in this first half now, and it is 9-3 in favor of Renegades, who take a timeout.
One thing that's been interesting as well is that, so many of these T rounds, this game plan of Renegades has been very fast. They'll take middle, and then they'll push players in position, and then they're doing something. They're constantly doing something, and we have a lot of these rushes as well. Fast set pieces on the A bomb site. They're really keeping that pace up high, and it feels like for ENCE, there's just no breathing room in terms of what they can do on the map, and they want to challenge for middle because they don't want to just let Renegades have it. And so, but they've been doing it in a way in which they've been under-equipped also. So there's just problems everywhere so far for ENCE, and this is the change that we're going to see now. This is how they have to get things back under control. The double ops come out, James.
Double AWPs. Now, Renegades have been very unpredictable in this T side so far, and we see a change of pace from them. Not many grenades towards that mid position. We can see that smoke from ENCE. This time, they won't take risk behind it, but it will delay the Renegade somewhat.
It's actually a bait, I think. I think they're trying to convince Renegades that they're playing into mid and that A is really weak and they have a timing to go into A, and it's all a setup. But so far, Renegades are not biting the bait, James.
Renegades waiting around that A-bomb site, still passive elsewhere. Jacob top mid, Liaz towards B. Jacob and Liaz, well, almost everybody with absolutely full grenades for Renegades at the moment, so they could show presence wherever they choose to. Oh, the timing, that is absurd. I cannot believe he just did that. We'll talk about that one later, but that is a brazen play. JKS sees some legs. Sergey playing Super Mario Brothers now, and he may fall to the flames here, or JKS. 6 bullets left, and he will fall back. A peek like that from Palace is absolutely ridiculous. You're exposed to the entire site. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
That is daylight robbery. The fact that he gets away with that is just unbelievable.
And it's Alu they've taken out again as well.
Yeah, that's true.
That you do not see that. That's amazing from Renegades.
And the change of pace here as well. There was some steps there, I think. I'm not sure if that would have been heard by X7. I think it must have been. They're going to make the play into the bomb side. The rotation's not quite there just yet. The timing on the flashbang could not be more perfect. And ENCE are locked out well and truly. I have to say, I don't know that I've seen Renegades play this well, in such a clinical fashion as they are, that everybody's performing out of their mind. We're having an incredible game plan from them, all T-side long, that round by round is being executed perfectly, pretty much. This is so awesome to see. I'm very impressed.
I need to see that set up with Gratisfaction again.
Yeah.
Just what exactly went on there from the whole team, because that was really ridiculous. It was unfortunate timing for ENCE, because for a while they were looking for that play, but as soon as they stopped, then the play, well, they were looking for Gratisfaction or someone, but as soon as they stopped, then out he comes with an AWP to get an entry on the A bomb site from Palace. Absolutely crazy scenes here. Renegades have clearly been putting in work during this break, and they're taking ENCE by surprise, and there's just, I mean, I don't know that there's a way to respond to this, because every round has been different from Renegades, it feels.
I think what's very strange for ENCE in that past round as well is that, again, as I mentioned, we'll see them take a tactical, so I do have a moment to speak about it. They threw a really deep smoke in that Astralis popularized on middle, and they had the Molotov there as well to really slow down any mid plays. And what that makes it seem like is that you are just running at least 3 guys up mid as the CT side to take forward control of that position. So that's what you're representing. And so usually the response for the T side, if they have, if everybody's towards the A side of the map, or if you have at least a couple players there, is to go to push into the site, because you know there should only be one person defending that bomb site at that timing. So ENCE created this trap, but Renegades just waited it out. They just waited forever, and that's, I think, the slowest round that they've played so far. So again, they are so hard to read. I don't know what you're supposed to do in ENCE's shoes right there, if that's the play you make, and then just nothing happens. Very strange stuff.
Okay, Alu's back on the AWP, looking for something. But once again, at least at the start of this round, is pretty much a mirror from Renegades in terms of where they're positioned. Liaz looking for some shenanigans, and he may find some if he goes deep enough. Aerial is waiting. It can be tiresome to just stare at an angle for a long period of time. 1 minute 25 on the clock. Again, we've got 3 players, including the bomb towards A. Gratisfaction, passive towards Palace, currently smoked off. Azza and JKS just holding angles, just waiting. Azza's playing anti-flash, staring into the corner, just in case ENCE get hungry for something. ENCE playing a completely reactive game. Grenades coming in towards the A-bomb site. LXEB taken out by Gratisfaction with a dirty peek, and Aerial will be punished as well. Nothing is going the way of ENCE in this half.
Yeah, for sure. They're losing so many 1v1s, and I mean, credit to Renegades. They themselves are being so clean with these duels. It is a bit difficult to take them down, and look at that. Lias waiting for the peak. Whiff from Alu, you can't be whiffing those. That was maybe one of the very few opportunities Alu is going to get in a round like this to do some damage. Obviously, any damage will only be for just stats at this point, considering that the economy for Renegades is fantastic, and we'll be moving into the final round of the first half, and we may see a 12-3 first half from Renegades. Here comes Azza on the hunt. Picks off one, and there's just one left. They know exactly where he is. And again, there's huge value for taking him down. They can sacrifice every player trying to take down Sergey, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Azza's getting himself a highlight reel of multi-frag rounds in one half. But it's great to see that Liaz is leading the charge in terms of frags on the scoreboard. Again, it's been a great tournament for him from when they started winning. Oh, boy.
Goodbye, Orp.
Renegades looking damn dangerous at the moment. And again, on the CT side, JKS and Jacob have been so important for Renegades, and with peaks like that, it doesn't bode well for ENCE when a side swap at all.
Yeah, that's such a big deal, because that was the AWP. They can't play the WAWPs now, and again, it feels like ENCE have been playing with less than what they've wanted for the entire half. Their money's never really been that good. And this is another one of those rounds. Ali out of the window, he'll go, trying to evade all the utility, but he might have boxed himself in towards underpass. JKS waits for the push. We get Trace in middle as JKS goes to the peak. He gets the info, and he's going to take down Sergey. 3 left for ENCE. LXEB makes the load a little bit easier to deal with, but there's still a lot of problems because it's a 3v3 and there's a minute and a half. That's beautiful for Renegades. And that's even better for ENCE.
ENCE really, really need this round. desperately. X7 moving through the underpass. There's no sound cues, but he's maybe about to get one. You can see JKS has got a grenade in his hand. He's also got the bomb. Hello and goodbye. Beautiful second frag for X7. Much needed fourth round for ENCE.
Wow. I am so very impressed. I cannot say it enough. But can Renegades keep it up and close things on the second half? We'll find out after this break.
Renegades absolutely dismantled ENCE in the first half, and now they move to the CT side. Again, we've seen JKS and Jacob make stars of themselves on the CT side of Mirage so far in this tournament, and maybe they can do the same again. ENCE have a lot to prove here, especially some of the, well, one of the outgoing players on their team, so maybe it has to be done the hard way. Maybe you have to start with 4 rounds on the T side. But a pistol will invite some variance. And we won't see any P250s from ENCE, it seems. Sergey will be a grenade man. Everybody else with Kevlar.
Yeah, I think that's it's a really good point. It's a very different half, and already Renegades actually looking like they're going to take the initiative here. This could work out really well. Sergey's going to get taken down, but they may read this as Sergey faking the A-bomb site. And that's a problem, because here comes the push into the B-bomb site, and there goes the rotation, but the bomb's going to be alone on the A site, and so X7's going to, well, I mean, if you just win the round here, that's great. Looks like Az has got a lot of work on his hands, but he's been delivering so far. He's going to pick off one, and now they're going to realize...
It's a trap! Matchmaking strats at the major. Can you believe it?
When are they going to realize, though, James?
There's too much action, there's too much fire. Just keep spamming the Glocks, they won't hear it. Jacob, surely there's no realization just yet. They've been sold a dummy, they've been sold a fake. It's a cheap knockoff. The bomb's on the A-bomb site. The pistol is with ENCE. And you can see, that's a great way to start the half. Just a hilarious round. You get the info on the ramp that a few players are pushing. The bomb is stuck. You saw the fake towards B. Marvelous way to start, especially when you've got 6 more rounds to recover.
Yeah, that's so funny. Renegade's push made it worse for them. It's crazy, but it feels good, you know, that ENCE, at least something goes their way. And right at the start of the T side, no less. And they may actually give Renegades a bit of their own medicine here. We've got what could be a fast play into this A-bomb side, but JKS is going to take down Aerial. That is not good. Flashbang comes in, the bomb's down, and there's problems now for ENCE. He smokes the bomb. This is really bad for ENCE right now. So he's going to do what he can, but JKS has stolen himself an AK-47, and he still has full HP. He's got a flashbang as well. This could not be worse for ENCE.
And Renegades have taken their biggest weakness and made it one of their strongest strengths at the moment. After the first frag, JKS has support flashbangs from his teammates as well. That is absolutely brutal. ENCE have been burglarized on a ramp. All their precious valuables have been taken. They've got a minute to play with, but with only 3 players, they're going to be really handicapped. Terrified of a flank, X7 looks behind him as he moonwalks to join his teammates. And look at all the spam. Alu somehow manages to rescue the bomb. But what is the nature, what is the climate around the map? You've got to be nervous about every single corner. This might work out. Sergey going wide with the MP5. Don't want to go too crazy. More flashbangs coming, and the trades will continue. Ali's got some sound cues though, because he's in Palace, and he may think that he's gone elsewhere. Does one of the players go towards B, or do they both stick together? He might have the sound cues for both of them actually. He's got a fully charged AK. He's ready to go. Quietly down he goes. Now, with 20 seconds, does he go for both players? No, he's going to try and secure the bomb plant. But does he realize that they're both on the ramp? The shadow. Oh, he didn't see the shadow in time. You have to give all credit to Renegades. JKS, he is such an amazing player. But it was a team effort. He gets the first kill. He makes it look easy. He calls for the flash. The air raid comes in with flashbangs, takes out the second player, smokes off the bomb, gets the AK. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, and that's the kind of round that gives you confidence that they'll be able to close this down, because, you know, giving ENCE problems straight away, obviously ENCE in that sense will be struggling to run their own game plan, and oh man, it's going to take a lot now for ENCE to bring themselves back into this one. They're going to go for the full buy in this next round, but here's just another look at JKS murdering them on the A ramp. And we're going to see the double Krieg. We've been seeing this more and more, especially on Mirage, but it is just so insanely strong to get those Kriegs out in these force buy situations. Jacob's playing a two-man setup with Gratisfaction there in middle, so Renegades are covered for pretty much anything that could happen across the map.
So you look at this setup in mid versus the first half when Ali was like alone behind a smoke, scoping in and out with AWP. Kind of smells of unpreparedness. A Deagle and a Krieg for Aerial. I don't think he's even seen anybody just yet, and his entire team are almost dead. X7, the only person alive, and it should be Aerial trying to make some plays before all the pistoling players go down, because again, you need to swarm the site, you need to take control for a bomb plant. X7 trying to run distraction at the moment. People aren't too concerned. No one in CT to stop the bomb plant, so Aerial could do some damage, but will damage be enough when Renegades should be on 13 rounds soon?
There's a lot to ask for. And here he tries the first one, and Azza will just be too much. Azza is feeling it so far today. And that is a good sign for Renegades, to be sure. At least the bomb was planted. That is something that will help the economy events, but 3 rounds is all that's needed for Renegades to get the first map in the bag. And the analyst, I think rightly said on the desk that if Renegades want a chance to win this series, Mirage has to go in their favor. It just has to go in their favor. And so far, it's very much going in their favor, but...
Have ENCE woken up yet? Despite the bomb plant, they are not in a position to buy. Surely this is going to be an insurmountable task if Renegades get to 14. Again, they have been susceptible to anti-ecos, anti-force buy rounds, which they should win, which they should convert with ease, Renegades. But again, something has changed in this team, and while you might see the odd scare here and there, it doesn't really feel that way anymore. We've got grenades going towards ramp position, and he needs to follow up with the rifles. That's the thing. Trying to swarm now. Aerial will take JKS out, but JKS needs to clean up. Doesn't realize that there's a player behind him, though. Aerial goes through triple. Now he's got CT. 2 versus 2. And this is what I'm talking about. That bomb needs to go down quickly because rotation is still coming in.
Yeah, they put utility as well. There's a Molotov on Azza, flashbang the smoke as well, and there goes the first nade. Now down to Aerial. Once again, he's got the Krieg, and he'll sit by CT. They don't know exactly where he is just yet, but they'll be eliminating possibilities with that Molotov. And Liaz has himself an incendiary as well, and there's a flashbang. Oh, dig straight away to Aerial. He'll be able to reset the situation. But now there's a problem because they can pressure the bomb. What do you do against this? The smoke, the incendiary, but maybe it helps Aerial because he can't take a fight, but he can certainly spray for the smoke. Oh, he can't quite find it in time. It was a very good effort from Aerial, but it will go the way of Renegades. 14 rounds, 2 more to go, and they have map 1 in the bag.
So close. If he taps, you do wonder. Not as familiar as the AK-47 spray. Just wasn't enough on this occasion, but the damage could be something. The damage could be something, but they've got 9 rounds to claw back. And Renegades have a full buy regardless of that damage. The AWP is out for Gratisfaction. They've got the incendiaries, those $600 incendiaries. They've got all the bits and bobs, all the tools they need. ENCE have Ali on the AWP, and Molotov towards Connector, nothing unusual there, but Jacob's showing no fear, charging up, looking to impose their will on both halves, it seems, Renegades. But how deep will he go? Has a look, but he's gone too far.
And there we go. ENCE get that early 5 versus 4, the dream on the T side when you have all that time to play with, lots of holes in the CT defense. They've still got to start taking risks perhaps now, and Alu looking to go for the peak. Gratisfaction's ready for that. Goes back out there. That was a close one. Oh, nice follow-up from Gratisfaction. Punishes Alexi B, who went for the trade kill. Gratisfaction shuts it down. JKS tries to defend towards the A ramp, but more space will be claimed by ENCE.
Oh my God.
Again, Gratisfaction turns up, and that's another shutdown. ENCE are in severe trouble now.
Yes, they are. And it feels like they've been in trouble this entire map, really. 15-5 for Renegades. Some beautiful shots from Gratisfaction. This guy is running hot from the first map. Really nice stuff from him. He's pretty happy with that. Great spirits in the Renegades camp. Now, can they close it out in this round?
Oh, wow. ENCE are really lacking utility here. Alu unable to find the pick as the jump is made across the connector by Jacob. Looking for another one though, the smoke coming in. Trying to find a timing shot there from behind it. Green that presence, but Gratisfaction's going to pick up one in middle, as will Azza. He's doing such a good job in this series, and it feels like nothing's going wrong for them, but Sergey, he's going to make things a little bit easier. Takes down Grat, and looks for the next one. Ariel reclaiming middle here, so we get some more real estate going back in the way of ENCE. And Sergey, he is a turret here from Palace with that Krieg, but JKS lurks.
There goes the bomb, and there go the chances, surely, for the first map. Ariel down to 4 HP in the crossfire. He's got to win this duel, he's trying to, but he can't do it. A massive start for Renegades, 16-5. Absolute dominance from start to finish. Really strong start for Renegades. ENCE were never in this map.
Yeah, talk about having a bunch of tools in your tool bag. I think Renegades found the sledgehammer, James, because that T side was so brutal. To witness, it was just so impressive to see how clean that
Well, we started our conversation about ENCE versus Renegades by framing it that ENCE were coming into this as the untarnished record, a 3-0, coming up against Renegades, who did quite the opposite, back down to the 0-2 and the reverse sweep to bring them to the top 8, to the Mercedes-Benz Arena, which is where we are so gifted to be standing now. But Mirage, quite the gift, it seems, to Australian Counter-Strike. Chad, we have to start with you, because that was a lockout.
Yeah, I guess I told you so.
Okay. Oh, he's getting it in early.
No, it's good, because I just want to banter, right? For the rest of the games, I'll be serious. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm going to be a little bit more whimsical with things. But
whimsical?
That was great. That was fantastic. It didn't look like ENCE watched a single Renegades demo.
Yeah, I was talking to Chad in the back, and I mean, in previous Renegades matches on Mirage, they were doing 3 top mid default. So when Alu got caught trying to look underpass, and then they got caught with that boost by Azza flanking a B bomb site, it was hard to watch based on, you know, what we've seen out of the Renegades previously on Mirage.
Yeah, and everyone's on the board. Look at this. Like, and we were saying before, Liaz, will he be able to maintain his game? Everyone's getting going for Renegades. It's not like they just won a bunch of clutches and it was close. Some of these T-side rounds were just dominant. They was running over them.
11 rounds on the T side of Mirage. I mean, that's not something you would necessarily anticipate coming into today.
No, and it was clean, right? They were able to win those rounds that I thought were problems. Justin having to win this one here in the smoke, that's a hold your breath kind of moment. But the fact that they could convert against the, I guess, lower buys and make sure they did it, even though there was some worrying situations, they were still able to close them out. And that really needed to come on in here. Another positive for Renegades in this game, you didn't let ENCE get going. None of the players looked warmed up. Aerial's making some absolute whiffs right now. They're not looking confident.
And he was their top fragger, so enough said, right?
Well, yeah, look, I didn't even look at his stats after that. So when you see the highest fragger on their team struggling, that's a big worry. And we also touched on X7. He was towards the bottom of the scoreboard with Sergey, another player who, so far throughout this tournament, has been looking fantastic. So, whew,
seeing
not good
JKS,
signs.
seeing him do that as well, so aggressively trying to take ramp on a limited buy and winning those duels.
JKS had so much success, right? He rode that 1-on-2 pistol round momentum throughout the entire map. I mean, even that eco round, close ramp, Jesus, he had so many impactful frags. And honestly, I'm impressed with how aggressive Renegades was to open this match, right? Gratisfaction coming out of the Palace, getting that AWP pick onto Alu. I mean, they were fearless throughout this entire map, and I can't say the same for ENCE.
Yeah, as much as, listen, a lot of praise to the Renegades. Almost a dream start for them. Remember, the last time they were in the round of 8 of a major, they didn't show up, actually. They just got spanked on their own map pick immediately and were pretty much out the tournament. This time, ENCE, the whole thing you say about them is the poise. Like, I forget what that particular term is in Finnish, but it's like it means basically like you got grit when you're under pressure. You're hard to put away. None of that was here. They were here for like a cup of coffee. That was about it.
Well, the pressure is going to be mounting now as we start talking about Nuke, of course, coming up next. First, I want to make sure we wrap up these Mirage highlights because it's Azza's time in the sun.
Yeah, I wanted to see more from him, and we did. And I know that Aaron is a very smart player. He was always the 2IC back when other people were in-game leaders in the team, always a very loud voice. Now he's taken over that, and he's had a decent period of time with this team now. You think about it, Liaz and Gratisfaction, I think it's 250-something days that this has been a 5-man roster. It's, I guess, tending towards one of the longer rosters we have together. ENCE, on the other hand, I think they've been together for something like 500, or, you know, we're looking at a long time. But it's working, it's coming together. Kassad, I think, has a very good relationship with Azza, and they see the game the same way. But this here is where...
not so good on Nuke.
No, not at all.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they did start on CT side in that phase game and lost 16-3.
I will give them one concession, which is, to be fair, at least Fury is obviously a Nuke specialist. And that's maybe softening the blow, but the fact you don't even play it very often when you go into tournaments like, is kind of telling in itself.
Let's recap a little bit as well, because Sean, you gave us a couple of highlights before.
Sure.
What were the Renegades' flaws on Nuke that we expect ENCE to exploit?
So they did a very poor job of stopping the vent bomb against FaZe, right? Olaf was able to get down the vent, throwing that smoke in front of the door and creep down vent. I didn't see any harassment coming out of Jacob or Liaz in the upper bomb site. Hopefully Renegades is going to fix that problem. I think they left JKS on an island too much at ramp, not enough movement around the map from Gratisfaction. But they can fix that. It's been 4 days.
Yeah, and in that game, FaZe were quite quick. You notice some of the stuff they did, like the first gun round, they've done the normal wall smoke and just pounced. So Renegades also went for a lot of force buys early on their CT side. This is why I'm going to continue to look at the details. Renegades, in my mind, need the pistol here. They need to convert. Seems like the basics, but it's more from a confidence standpoint as opposed to those rounds being on the board. Because once they get blown out, I think that teams can snowball on top of them because they're playing catch-up. Once they're ahead, like Sean said before, they're a game plan team. They can coast on that.
And ahead in the series, coasting, perhaps not the word we can use for Nuke, but stepping into it soon nonetheless. Any convincing happening over the course of Mirage, Duncan? believing that Nuke...
Listen, that was almost that might be the best Renegades I've actually seen with this particular lineup. The problem is, this isn't a 50-50 map. This isn't like the Dust 2 where, listen, hey, maybe we flew a house money, we can win on their map. This is the hard reset. If you're ENCE, you absolutely have forgotten about map 1 already, and you're thinking to yourself, listen, the Org's not there, but we've got all the setups. We've got the CT side of this map down. We know what we're doing.
And weren't ENCE one of the few teams to truly make Astralis sweat during their unbeaten run?
They were the second team.
The run.
Second team. Or,
yeah.
Were they the team that actually stopped it?
Yes.
They stopped it so it didn't go to 32. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's another picture to paint, and you can see you guys over using the Strafe app. You guys can get involved and cast your votes. That is just the fan vote, and if you want to get involved on the next one, you can do so by
This guy needs to turn up for. Where was this guy? Sergey. He was one of the top-rated players in the tournament. He's supposed to be the young star who's coming through, not people on the Renegades side.
Yeah, looking at this one as well, Sean touching on things that are poor with the Renegades on their CT side. I think some of the things on their T side are poor as well. They have good executes, they have good strategies, but sometimes I think they have the wrong personnel in certain places. They do a vent dive strat where JKS gets down the vent. Now, you've heard me talking about him being a passive player. He'll get the territory, and he won't actually do anything with it. So if his teammates are still locked out of ramp, they can't get outside past a good AWPer, he is the person who needs to step up and make a play. So I'm curious to see if he's still in that role, or if they've made an addition, they've put somebody like Jacob, maybe like Azza, someone who might have a few more aggressive moments.
I think what I don't want to see out of ENCE right now is a lot of outside upper splits early, because in the previous game I saw from Renegades, their rotation into the upper bomb site's very quick. JKS is willing to smoke ramp and just leave it for the first 20 seconds of a round. And if that's opening is there, I want to see ENCE take that at some point in this game.
Punish, get under their skin early. Renegades could be destabilized and dethroned, certainly in this series, on Nuke. It was ENCE's map pick, somewhat of a punish, certainly considering not only Renegade's success, but ENCE, they've broken the world's best team at the time, unbeaten spree on Nuke. We talking 3 already here, Chad, even for a Renegades believer?
No, look, obviously I'm going to say Renegade's going to 2-0 this. It's going to be nice and swift. We might see another 16-5 type scoreline. It's going to be a quick one. I think there'll be
Renegade's a hell of a drug, apparently.
Yeah, well,
wow, give me some of that.
You see the Finns in there doing a lot of drinking. They're going to have a lot more time after this to do some more.
Oh, he really wants to be the villain.
I know, he's trying too hard with me.
Hey, man.
It's got to come naturally.
That soundproof booth, it's heating up. It's like a sauna. The Finns are getting comfortable. This is it.
Don't be naked drinking vodka before you know it. Spanking each other with leaves and that.
The Finns are getting
you never
comfortable
been in a sauna?
Yeah, they want the sauna.
They love saunas,
They love saunas, yeah.
Yeah, but we were born in 40 degrees, so I'm not sure the Finns know what that feels
like.
like.
Ben, you merely adopted the heat.
I was born in it.
We've had a few Batman references today.
We have, and the Dark Knight's on the desk, of course. Prediction time, gents, because it is about to jump in. One already made clear, Chad Birchall, a 2-0 from the Renegades. Delusional, perhaps. Duncan Thor and Shields, any convincing happened after Mirage?
Unfortunately, I do not see the Renegades breaking the back of ENCE with the Nuke pick. I think this is a really comfortable pick for the ENCE to go into. This gets them back in the series. You can have a lot of play on this one at worst, so I think I'm taking ENCE to go in 3.
Can't wait to see Allo holding outside.
I have to say the same. I mean, the individual form for ENCE scares me, but Nuke isn't a map where that matters all that much. It's all about positioning and communication.
Which, of course, we heard from Twister, the coach of ENCE, coming into this, praising and admiring, perhaps even being surprised by the level of communication that the ENCE showed in their first game here at the Major in Berlin. Last couple of moments, of course, acknowledging the coaches, both Cassard and Twister, standing behind them. They'll have the opportunity to speak only during the timeouts. And it does seem like it's time for the desk to time out and head over to James and Dan. Map 2, Game 1, ENCE take on the Renegades.
Now, ENCE have a lot to show us. They didn't really show us anything in that first map. Thank you, Alex, and the rest of the desk. I don't expect the Renegades that we saw in those previous matches, just the way that Mirage went. I think they're going to have plugged some of the holes now. We'll see what ENCE can do. They start on the T side. Even on the CT side, when they started in the first half, Renegades didn't have all the success in the world. And it's not going to go well in this pistol round, it seems, although it's not over just yet. 2 players do remain. You can see Alexi looking for a rotation, looking for a push through the lobby. Doesn't happen just yet. JKS by control, takes one in the face. Still alive though, and Azza will take a player out as well. So now it's a one-man advantage, but looking to push. The door is being they're not allowed in. The bouncer says no, but they'll force their way. They'll get the final kills. The pistol goes to ENCE.
And this is a map though where it's obviously that's not the start that Renegades won. Maybe flashbacks to that game against Na'Vi where they were absolutely trounced. But I'm hoping that Renegades will have done some level of decent prep that could patch some of those huge holes that they had, because I mean it was just some basic rotations and understanding how to play that on their CT side that really caused them problems when they were playing against Na'Vi. It should be easy fixes.
Did you see Alu's face just there? It's the second round. I just won the pistol, but there seems to be some frustration. I don't know if it's like disagreement or something, but I do wonder what the meaning of that is. They started off on the right foot, but it seems the mood might not be in the right place just yet.
And this is a dangerous round too. You know, the force buys on Nuke on the CT side are very strong, so you have to be cautious in how you handle these. You've got to be very routine and drilled. And we've seen that Renegades individually, they are feeling it already off the back of that first map. So if Renegades are to have a performance on Nuke, the answer 2-0, as Chaz suggested, then it would be, they are in the perfect position, given that they had such a hot first map, to get everybody feeling it. And ENCE individually, they're still looking to get that feeling themselves, but by having a good performance in this map, this second map. But again, Renegades would have known that this would come up, this map in this series, so perhaps they have something up their sleeves. And ENCE have got to be careful. They are killing the time. They're burning the time right now. And here's a great response. JKS, perfect timing on the smoke grenade. That's going to slow things down even more for ENCE. They don't really have much real estate. And if JKS gets some kills, if they try to push him, then there's more problems. They're going to go back towards Squeaky now, James.
Yeah, they don't have anyone outside, it seems.
30 seconds.
Yeah, they've got some they've thrown one grenade basically outside. A smoke grenade is up towards the T-Red position, but there's going to be issues here to deal with on the ramp. So far, so good. We've got late rotations going down the ramp position, but what can Renegades do on the B bomb site? They've got control of the vent. They're making their way down. 15 seconds. The bomb plants better have the best cover in the world. They better have life insurance, because otherwise this is going to go the way of Renegades. They're just now starting to plant the bomb, and this is a really nervous situation for ENCE, but they managed to survive. Some tags through the wall, I think, from Gratisfaction, but importantly, the bomb has been planted, and now they have position. Do Renegades try to push, or do they go for a reset in the second round, third round?
Yeah, so Az is already falling back towards CT spawn. So yeah, it looks like they are going to just all relax and fall back. And as you say, keep what they have into that next round, make it a second very scary round. Azza has a couple of flashbangs still, too, to bring into that next round. So that's going to be fun to see how Renegades might use them. And I mean, this could have gone really badly for ENCE. Obviously, there was like 7 seconds when the bomb was being planted. And a JKS, you know, there is definitely a world where he gets a kill or 2 kills there. And Renegades just pounce on ENCE, and then ENCE just run out of time trying to plant the bomb because it's so heavily contested. So, yeah, that's a scary one. And now they've got to do it all over again.
I like the decision-making from Renegades. Even in losing that round, it's clean and it's decisive. And I feel like that's one of the differences we've seen from them in this tournament, is just decisiveness.
Yeah.
From when they started to turn things around. And that has gone in their favor. Now let's see how ENCE deal with a basic reset of the situation. Maybe they run into the Mag 7 of Liaz. I don't know if that was revealed in the previous round. I don't think it was. He was up on the hut roof of A on the round prior. This time there's more grenades, more presence from ENCE towards the outside, of potential presence. They've got a Molotov towards the stairs. And there are more question marks to be had for Renegades. A shot through the smoke, and this time the ramp is clear.
There's a bit of damage. Softening X7 up for the scouts, perhaps. Oh, hello. Goodbye. That's not a good side for Renegades. Very fast positioning has been picked up by ENCE here, doing way better than the previous round and getting the real estate that they need to secure the bomb plant. And once you've done that, you've pretty much dealt with the force buy, as there's no kits to be seen. So Renegades, what is the option here? They will be, of course, able to buy in the following round. So they're going for some damage. Nice shot from X7, down to 2 HP, but he's looking good. And Renegades, they need to get some damage. They really need to keep the economy honest of ENCE. There is 1 kill at the very least. Can they find anything else? A gun could be collected. There's the UMP. Looks like the Kevlars will be saved here. And the grenades. Gratisfaction obviously had no Kevlar, so not too much loss for Gratisfaction.
We'll see if they choose to hold on to the Mag 7. There is some utility for it on the A bomb site, but it's maybe not favored for people who aren't JW. 3-0 start for ENCE. So far, so good. Still need to show us something to believe in after the start we saw in Mirage. Strong from Renegades, and it's very early here on Nuke. The AWP is out for Gratisfaction. He will be naked. The rest of the team will have their Kevlar. So there'll be a UMP for Liaz, but the Mag 7 will be left in spawn. And out come Renegades with a mixed bag. AKs and SMGs. Sergey with the MP5. Again, worse than the MP7, apart from the lack of traces. Gratisfaction, he likes to get into this position the fast way. And that's a pretty reliable play he makes, but he's got Jacob for support in a very forward position. And this is going to take a lot of information for Renegades, and ENCE might not be prepared for this.
Yeah, I like the presence of the AWP there. It kind of allows Jacob to have this position because they can't peek him from the top of that silo because they're too worried about getting AWP'd. So that's what allows Jacob to be in that spot. So that's a nice setup, and a lot of time is being killed here. You can see Ali trying to make his way forward. The timing, oh, he's just been spotted. Won't go down, but there goes the forward incendiary. That's going to mess up the timings here for ENCE. So they might be forced to play an extremely slow round. And Gratisfaction, meanwhile, we can see he's rotated with that AWP of his in towards the ramp position. And it looks like ENCE might want to get some ground towards this spot. So they're going to be having to contend with Grat, and he's going to hit the first one. How many more? Oh, goes for the hard shot there. Can't land it, but there goes the support. And this is a good look here for Renegades. Another frag from JKS, and Gratisfaction is ready in a 1 versus 1 with the AWP. And it doesn't look like there's much for ENCE really to do. X7 will try to find a way to get a kill, but time is also against him.
Grat's done his job. Held position, held the ramp with no Kevlar, no less. And there's only one frag in that round for ENCE. Still, it's not too late for a strong start to the first half for Renegades, despite having lost a pistol. That rotation from Gratisfaction is fantastic. Starts off with a very fast attempt at a kill by that secret position and makes his way towards ramp once Jacob's in a secured position. Really nice stuff from Renegades. Still, seeing a lot of promise from them, potentially, on this CT side of Nuke, but the buy is out for ENCE. And that wasn't the strongest buy from them. Again, they had 2 SMGs in that round. Now they have 4 AKs in the Galil for X7 and a lot of utility. If they win this round, maybe there's an opportunity to steal an AWP. The squeaky door's being blown off. No smoke towards main, though. See Jacob's in main at the moment. And Liaz is on the high ground of A.
Here we go, fast play. Jacob gets himself the spray, the double comes through, and a third as he goes through the smoke. That is outrageous, and that feels like a glimpse from Mirage, James, just that confidence and converting like that. And they've got to find their individual performances because, sure, as they mentioned on the desk, yeah, you can just win with position on a map like this, but on the T side, you do have to be able to get those entry frags, and right now, Renegades are connecting.
Jacob with the brazen play through the smoke and still gets the frag as well. That is beautiful confidence from the man. Been so strong. A great addition to the Renegades team. ENCE now down to the pistols. Their success was short-lived. And it was maybe non-existent in that first game. A third smoke, so there's no gap in the middle, it seems. Or just in case of a Molotov. And they make their way down towards Secret. Aslan might get caught here. Indeed he will. Sergey's a trade with the P250. CZ collected. Now a bomb plant would be fantastic, but JKS has got something to say about that, or does he? Seems like there might be a stolen round here for ENCE.
Yeah, it's looking really likely there. Both JKS and, well, as it was a little bit slow, he needed an extra half a second to get into position to play the headshot angles, but gets punished. And here comes the retake attempt from Renegades. It's going to be tough. Oh, the nade does some good damage, but the timing of the CZ from LXCP will absolutely cripple this retake attempt. It's just Jacob left. It's all he can do to try to maybe get this AWP and just run away with it. That might be the play. There it is. Gets the pickup. Has the fire to cover his tracks and allow him to get some space so he can get to safety. But that was a little bit sloppy, James, from Renegades, and ENCE punished them hard.
Well, I think Renegades played it well to begin with. They set up for a crossfire, basically, for a bait and switch setup, but Renegades had a double HEs to stop that, took out the first player, but again, yeah, no one was watching for that second player, for that trade fragger who got 2 kills for free, unanswered kills, shut down the round, and maybe it won't be so simple for Renegades. They've got money, however, and that's an important save of the AWP, so they will rebuy, and they may end up with a better buy than ENCE, unless ENCE can spread the money well. That is a surprising win, and again, Renegades won't want to lose too many rounds like that, but better to lose one early than lose one late.
Yeah, and then they need to start building that security in rounds on this CT side. It was very troubling for them against Na'Vi. We saw perhaps one of the worst performances we've seen out of Renegades for quite some time, but obviously they still managed to clinch that series with Vertigo.
ENCE have 95% of the pick'em selections for this series. 95%.
Damn.
I don't think, for me, I don't think any of the matches are more than a 60-40. I think it's like a really dangerous bracket in that respect. So there could be a colossal upset in this series. And it started off well for Renegades. ENCE back on the buy once again. Grab trying to get the secret, but he's completely blind. There's no idea where he is, but somehow he still makes it down there. Jacob in a forward position. That flashbang comes in just in time. Ariel gets the worst of it, and it's a 4 versus 5.
Oh, there's the punish though. Ali pushes forwards. He's going to keep this going with the pace. Liaz is occupied, and Ali's going to come and finish him off. Azza has to do it all here. Stuck in the corner of the bomb site, and he can't do enough. 2 versus 2 now for Renegades. They've lost the upper bomb site. X7 and LXCB don't have much in the way of utility left. Just one Molotov on LXCB, and they have to go for the plant. And Renegades are already in position. They might have a good shout for this one.
LXCB's got a Molotov. Does it go to the heaven position? Does he feel like he's safe to throw it? That would be an MVP play at the moment. He might not realize he's got it if he just walks and picks it up. Second CT makes his way into that position. X7 holding the angle. LXCB looking for the squeaky door, which is being blown off for the time being. Gratisfaction flying to his doom. Stereo frags for ENCE, and they're on the board again, 5-2.
Only Simple can do that, Gratisfaction. You've got to be careful with that AWP, the flying AWP. And indeed, ENCE, it's such a big round to win. Renegades, of course, do still have some bank to work with, but they've got to pick and choose carefully. Gratisfaction would be able to purchase an AWP, but we've got JChem, JKS, and Liaz all under $4,000. So it's not really an ideal situation for them to do a fully committed buy. But, you know, in doing so, in doing that eco round, you're going to be conceding another round most likely to ENCE. And you know what? They're going to go for it. Because they can get the AWP on Gratisfaction, we're going to actually see a full buy from Renegades here. A lot is going to be left to be decided in terms of the buy for JKS, Liaz, and Jacob. I'd imagine we're going to see some SMGs and lack of utility. Okay, looks like we get an M4 onto JChem. So there will be firepower in this round. But the issue, James, is that Renegades can't really play a long drawn-out round. They can't really play retakes. They have to try to take the initiative early in this round.
It's interesting. If you look at the Gratisfaction's got 1 kill at the moment, but let's not forget how important he was with that 1 kill towards the ramp, holding up ENCE for one of the rounds. Renegades were successful. Ariel taken down early. Another quick 5 versus 4 for Renegades. Much needed with their lack of utility, the shortcomings they have in this round. The UMP, the MP9. Gratisfaction not shy to jump peek for information. It's sown. Oh, sit down, sir. Never mind everything I was about to say. But still, they retain the man advantage. Jacob is there to trade, and more importantly, to hold position. ENCE can't be in secret, and that's huge info for Renegades with only 3 ENCE players remaining.
That's a disgusting shot from Ali. But indeed, we'll have to see if it's going to amount to anything that ENCE can really work with as the time is running lower and lower. And they finally start to make their move towards the outside where now Jacob is there with the AWP. They had a bait set up between Jacob and Gratisfaction. Jacob will take over the AWPing duties now he's collected the fallen AWP. And he's going to see X7 soon. Oh, that might have been the chance for X7 there. You can see that the rotation comes in immediately. Jacob doesn't risk another peek. Gets the info that X7's moving outside by himself, and that's going to tell them quite a lot here. They can definitely deduce that upper play is incoming, and here it goes. Trying to find Liaz, and eventually he will go down. Azza from the corner gets himself a double. That leaves Renegades in a favorable situation. A 2 versus 1, but they will have to retake with the bomb down.
Smoke to create some space. He might hear one of the CTs in the lobby position. You saw some running there on the X-ray. Jacob comes up. Is it too early? Spicking that, pulling out the CZ. How on earth has he got that kill? Through the smoke, JKS will trade. There were so many chances there for X7. He must have heard the running in the lobby position. 1v1 versus an up the ladder. Almost, but not quite. Renegades managed to hold on, but look at their money. Their money absolutely sucks. Liaz has got nothing, literally nothing in the bank. So the next buy is going to be a difficult one for Renegades, and ENCE might have a chance to reset.
Yeah, it's going to be really telling around this next one. And I've got to say, speaking of things that are telling, X7, you know, that kind of first whiff there, he looked really uncomfortable. And
it's got to be nerves, man.
Yeah, it does look a lot like that, yeah. Which it was not something I would expect to that degree. So we'll see if they can kind of calm the camp there, the ENCE camp, as we do get a respite in this freeze time, a moment to breathe. But here we go, once again back into it. Round 9 begins, and as James mentioned, Renegades spending absolutely everything, but ENCE are in the same boat. They've got no money left as well. So this is a huge round, and here we go. We get the drop down the vent straight away, coming in from ENCE. Fast positioning, and Alu picks off Jake, and Renegades are in troubled waters.
Do they realize that Alexi B is in or near around the B bomb site? That's been a consistent issue for Renegades so far. That will certainly help though. 4v4. They continue to look outside. Now, in some older games of Nuke, we can see JKS, he realizes, you can see where he's aiming. I was going to say, do ENCE open a door downstairs while there's some spray upstairs? Do they smash a window downstairs while they're making noise somehow to allow XCB to advance his position? That's not happening, and he's looking for someone to rotate and try and defend, but maybe they realize they've got some power with those sound cues, so they'll just hold towards the ramp. That gap could be painful. Not crossing it just yet. Running over now, they've got a flashbang to help them. Doesn't quite go far enough. And they know that the secret area has been compromised. But what can Alexi do from this position? He's waiting for the CT rotation. He hasn't seen Azza, who's made his way onto the elevated position. LXB focusing on the ramp area. JKS is there as well. Azza might get two. King of the multi-frag, but not on this occasion. JKS has been waiting. 30 seconds on the clock, and now it's 2 versus 2. Sergey and his teammate need to get that bomb down. Sergey might just see Gratisfaction, who goes for the alternative angle. That won't work out. Now Liaz, he doesn't have the range of an MP9. So far, so good though. Looking for the second one, but he can't quite get there. Sergey, the last man standing, gets the round for ENCE.
What a critical round to pick up for ENCE. Absolutely smashing the economy of Renegades. They are in so much trouble now. Oh, that was so huge. Really clutch stuff running in down onto that lower bomb side. Things looked pretty grim from time to time, but they managed to make it work. And that is what is important. And I feel like, you know, as we see these rounds build, as we see ENCE begin to win these fights, we're going to see them be much more confident. I am still seeing from Renegades, though, they're bringing that individual performance we saw from the first map, but they're not really finding enough spots to really convert to those round wins. We get a fast run here from ENCE to play against the eco of Renegades, although Liaz has picked up a headshot with a P250. That's not ideal, and now Ariel might have to try to protect the weapon.
The rest of ENCE are moving towards that ramp position, and it seems Ariel will fall back further to try and avoid being swarmed, spotting some of Azza. So keeping the CTs honest, but if he is to fall there, then that would be a really dangerous situation for ENCE. So he's got to be careful. If there's a push through lobby, for example, then things could get super weird, but he's still trying to protect the weapon for now, and you can see the hunger on the CTs, but now they're starting to swarm and get a little closer. Ariel doing an okay job for now, but soon he'll run low on bullets. You can hear it. He's got to pull a pistol out. There's one elevated, and he will fall. So it's going to be 2 AK-47s in a 3 versus 3. That bomb hasn't been down for too long. They could consider something here, Renegades.
Yeah, absolutely, and these AKs are just huge going forwards, especially again seeing some of the performances we have on Renegades, but you know, effectively that's going to save Renegades, what, $6,000 or so moving forwards, and that is very much needed as their economy has been quite stretched. But there goes JKS, that's one of the guns gone. Gratisfaction needs to stay alive with his. Of course, he really wants to do some damage to the economy of ENCE, but you've got to keep that AK at this point. Spray comes through, but it's unlikely to find the kill, and indeed it will not. So just one AK collected in the end by Renegades. So back into the buy they'll go, but they're looking down at the scoreline right now, and their deficit is not too good. 3 against the 7 of ENCE.
At this point, if you're Renegades, I think you need to start asking how many rounds do we need at a minimum for this half. You can see there are some frustrations now on one of the more consistent players for Renegades. 3 rounds on the board. Do you aim for 6? Do you aim for 7 maybe? Let's see. Ariel has got a place to be. He's got his bus ticket in hand, and seems the rest of the team do as well. Once again, a giant hole in that short position, or is it? Azza, he gets a team kill assist, so there will be 2 falling for ENCE, but a bomb will be planted quickly.
Yeah, those 2 kills really make all the difference. Ali will take down Jacob outside, but right now it's more about that lower bomb side. Alexi B threatening the flank, and with all of that, that means that X7 is actually alone on the bomb side. He's alone, and that means Alexi B has to play his card, and he'll go forwards, and Gratisfaction will take him down. And now Alu has to save the day. 1 versus 3. That bomb is freshly planted here. Renegades start to apply the pressure as they go for the bomb defuse, but Alu's going to have the spray. Nade in his hand, smoked off, has to go through with the flashbang, doing what he can, but it is not enough, and Renegades with the steal.
It's unfortunate for Alu trying to make a play through the site. He had the angle for the bomb plant. Could have estimated it, but with the CT so close, it might have insta-punished him through the smoke. Who knows? No perfect play in that situation. Renegades managed to survive. Again, we raise a question as to what the minimum number of CT rounds is for them in this half. That was a beautiful adjustment from Gratisfaction. Spins his mouse in the flick, the correction at the end. Marvelous stuff. They've got 4 rounds on the board. Can they make it to 6? Short-term goals. Make it to 6 and then set another goal after that. Both teams will be on the buy. That bomb plant is really crucial for ENCE. You can see the limitations in their grenades. They've got the rifles out for the most part. Well, for all the part. Everybody's on the rifles, no SMGs or funny business like that. Renegades have a different approach to dealing with that squeaky position, going down the vents, just having Azza there waiting to delete people. He's pretty good at that.
How much can Gratisfaction do here? Jakin will slow them down. That will allow Gratisfaction more time on the peak. Oh, Alexi B, great return there onto Grat. So it will be a 1-for-1 after all. But you can see the information was gained there. They saw a lot on the radar. Ali will pick off Jakin though. That's a problem now for Renegades because Alexi B is going to feel more confident now, pushing outside as well as the lower position as well towards Secret. Both positions have been compromised. It feels like the map is being constricted around Renegades and their defense at this point. JKS still has the ramp, but you can see that he's going to try to make a play here. They've got to do something to get information, to try to take initiative, because ENCE are in a very strong position, and they're trying to wait out a play like this, but do they have the right guess?
Sergey may have heard Azza jumping into the vent earlier on. Not 100% sure. There's going to be a high variance situation now in the lobby, but Sergey's the one to look first. Alu still waiting, misses his shot. But that's one of the 2 players remaining. They know where he is, so they can use the numbers, abuse the numbers towards this A-bomb site. Now they know Azza's the last man standing towards Secret. His options have been taken away. Such a joy to watch Azza in this match so far. The multi-frags in that first map were awesome. The whole team of Renegades been firing on all cylinders since they started winning matches in the last stage. But ENCE are about to move to 8 unless Azza's got some funky business.
Yeah, and the problem for Renegades too is that the kind of pattern of the rounds in which they have won means that their loss bonus is not going to be quite as good as you'd like. So we'll see what they'll be bringing into the next round, but I don't know that it will really be all that much. ENCE are now so strong. They're looking for the double digits for sure at this point, as they're trying to survive. ENCE are trying to hunt him down, and there it is. Alexi B will take down Azza. All the weapons removed from Renegades, and indeed, it's $2,000 to $3,000 for the Renegades players, so they need to go for a save, buy a few P250s, a flashbang, something like that, and ENCE will be likely picking up that 9th one pretty soon.
Renegades' loss bonus is not amazing, and indeed, they are broke as pokers. There will not be much to bring into this round. The CZ for Azza, the P250 for JKS, and that might be about it. No grenades, no nothing. So we'll see how they choose to abuse something. I mean, all they have really to abuse is their numbers to trade. Someone's got to take a bullet for the president if they choose to make an aggression somewhere. But of course, that will be looked for, and ENCE have time. So hard to decide when to make a play, but it looks like Renegades could burst from garage and main at the same time around his outside position. But it's all guesswork. The smoke grenades will isolate the options. X7's got to be careful. That smoke will help, but when you stand up there, your shadow is shown at the bottom of main. That's one taken down. The smoke will obscure the vision. Oh, that's an AK in a very difficult place to protect now. Again, that's one used for HE grenades. Oh my god, he's thrown his gun away, and he could have been facing 2 with the dualies. That will certainly help. Alu doing it in style. But there's still a gun on the floor as they're jumping towards that vent position. There's some spray, but oh dear. Is there a trade? There is a trade. Alexi B will take care of the rest. Okay, everything's fine. That could have been really awkward, but it wasn't. 9 rounds for ENCE.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a lot better. But in comes the buy once more for Renegades. And I'm wondering if, I don't know that they will be able to get the AWP onto Gratisfaction. So they may have a different style of play moving into this round. We'll have to see how heavily they'll contest the outside. It would be quite cool to see an aggressive setup, 2 to 3 players from Renegades early in the round. We'll find out very shortly. Only with the 1 kit on JKS, you can see some of the limitations, some of the shortcomings of the Renegades economy. And indeed, they'll be pushing 2 players outside quite aggressively with these M4s, and there is Gratisfaction back there as well, who can, of course, offer support from further away. Ariel is investigating. You do need to deal with any CTs if they are close in these positions. Going through the smoke, very unfavorable, and ASROCK will punish and pick up the AK for his trouble.
High-risk situation there for Ariel. What if you're wrong? If you're wrong, you're dead. LXCB trying to make his way through the A-bomb site, but he sees absolutely nothing as they're charging through the smoke now. So many CTs, but a Tracer goes back and forth. 1v3 for Sergey, only for half a second. Renegades prevail. They survive with 3 players moving into the last round of the first half. Really important for them. They need that extra cash. That was a fast one, but a brief one at the same time. 5 rounds on the board. Still a chance for those 6 rounds for Renegades, and maybe that will be enough.
Yeah, I think, you know, if they can show a T side, obviously they won't have quite the T side they had on Mirage in terms of preparedness and comfort, but definitely, you know, 6 rounds is enough to work with on that CT side. But we'll see if they can get that 6th one. Here we go. Final rounds of the first half. They won't have an AWP, the Renegades, but they've also changed their approach pretty dramatically. No aggression outside, because the ENCE were looking for it, but it won't be there. Instead, a more passive and slower approach from Renegades. Looking to get the information is Gratisfaction as he moves towards Secret. Also try to slow them down. J-Chem can play off of Gratisfaction. And there goes the flashbang. That is lethal. J-Chem with the AK. Finds a fast headshot and falls straight back. No punish possible. That's a good way to take an advantage.
That is a very strong statement from J-Chem. Some late momentum for Renegades in the first half, excuse me. Smoke towards main, but J-Chem will not respect it. Again, he will have a small shadow advantage. You can see one here, LXCB taken out for free. He would have one on the high ground as well, so he'll fade away with that. It's going to be really hard for ENCE to do anything, I think, in this round. X7 just running in for Sergey to trade, but there's no trade. Very awkward angle. Liaz makes it as hard as possible, and Ariel requires an ace now with 44 seconds on the clock, but Jacob says no. 6 rounds for Renegades at half-time. A nice comeback late on in the first half.
Yeah, a recovery, and I think you're right, James. You know, there is work to be done here for Renegades. They're going to be feeling a lot better about this new performance than their last one. So we'll have to see if they can do anything about this match, and maybe Chad's prophecy can come true, and they'll get that 2-0. But we will find out after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Can Renegades make a comeback in this second half? Of course, on this map, on Nuke, you expect to see more dominant CT sides, more rounds on that CT sides, but this is the major playoffs. Anything can happen, and Renegades have already showed us that they have definitely woken up on the right side of the bed today because they are hitting some shots. And now they move on to the T side, and let's not forget that T side they had on map 1. Again, sure, it will be more difficult for them on Nuke, but there is definitely a lot of work to be done here, and we'll be starting off with a molly and smoke on Azza. JKS will dump all the nades towards the squeaky door, towards that vent, as is so common. And then we'll try to investigate with a cursory jab or two from Alu.
Now, this could be a trap. Having blown off the door, you have to be worried if you're a CT player. And here is the fake being offered into the A-bomb site. Will it pull rotation? X7 will spot a lot of players coming towards the ramp. He backs off. He's got some information. Time to rotate for ENCE, but can he be sure of anything at this point? No frags just yet. Loads of Renegades players moving towards control. The bomb's going to be dropping. X7 trying to fall back to reload. Jacob with 2. X7 trying to do more. 3 from Jacob. Looking for an ace. We've got Sergey coming in from the back and Alu hiding on the side. Renegades holding position now by the double doors, waiting for a response from ENCE.
They're really making them sweat it out. A minute. That is a long time. Lots of time to play with. Lots of time in which ENCE might make a mistake. As Renegades have, as you say, just completely cut noise, being static. And the longer they do this, the more space ENCE have to move around. But there goes the smoke, making it safe. Alu not wanting to throw any shots across. The bomb's going to go down. And now Renegades have defensive positions. It's going to take something special here for ENCE to find the headshots they need, because they're going to have to attack into these dug-in positions, or maybe not. Jacob's going out. He's going to find himself the 4th kill. Sergey takes down JKS. And, well, there it is. The shutdown. Liaz secures it. But what a performance in this round from Jacob with the quad kill.
At half-time, I was saying to Dan that I'm kind of worried if I'm an ENCE fan right now. Renegades with 6 rounds on the board. I don't know, man. They're looking like a better team at the moment, despite the issues they've had historically on Nuke. They've got 6 rounds on the board on their CT side. They've looked more confident, more decisive, and we've just seen better fragging from Renegades overall in this series, and that might be enough for them to find themselves a 2-0. They win the pistol. So now we're in a really interesting situation. The match is paused. Looks like a tech pause at present. There's no buying from ENCE just yet, but again, this is scary.
Yeah, it's extremely scary. Because indeed, as you say, Renegades have put ENCE in the position that ENCE put them in, which is you have this CD side where you want to have the AWP, you want to have all the utility in the world. And now Renegades could just take over the money game, and that makes it a situation where you have to take more risks on the CT side to get that momentum back in your favor. So yeah, no one wants to play from that position. And also, Renegades are a team where, as you just mentioned about the individual ability, they can play the basics on these T-sides really well in terms of playing the trade game. And if they focus around a more simplistic game plan like that, given the level that we have seen from every single player on Renegades individually, it makes me confident that that could even be enough. And as you say, James, maybe what if there's a breakdown in ENCE? What if there's some tilting that happens? It's hard to say. We'll find out all those answers out very shortly. But here is, of course, the opening rounds on the first half of this series. You get to see that dominance initially from ENCE. JKS shows up.
All right, tech pause has been sorted out, and we will soon be back into the game. It is not going to be the sexiest round. It looks like it's an eco for ENCE, and the match has been paused again, so never mind. Maybe it'll be a slightly longer delay. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm terrified for my pick'ems. Okay, the unpause is coming in again, so we're only a few seconds away. Might be a good day for ENCE fans. It might not be. Renegades seem to be in the driving seat despite being 2 rounds behind. Of course, they did win the pistol. That's quite nice.
That's beautiful.
That's a very nice touch.
That is beautiful. I love it.
Artistic direction. Thumbs up from me. And into the game we go. So indeed, it will be an eco round from ENCE. They're not really spending much of anything, if anything. They will just be targets, moving targets like it's a training map. That's how it should go. But this is going to be good just to watch Renegades and see how they deal with an anti-eco situation. Of course, we always bring it into question. It has vastly improved in this tournament, and we can see that they already have a player down in that secret position. They're keeping the CTs honest in the upper area, just making sure nothing untoward is going on. As it can move towards control, have a look through the windows, and Renegades can try and figure out where ENCE may be playing.
Yeah, and it should be pretty easy to adjust here for Renegades. Even if they do get into a spot of bother, they should be able to trade things out. They're playing against just absolutely nothing, so should be easy to control the situation. There's already enough information gained here by Renegades, and you can see them start to communicate that, and as it's going to get his team, rally his team towards this ramp position, and you can see everything's clear. So they've got a clear line to that bomb site now. I do wonder, how this will go, because if we think back to Mirage, ENCE opted to do a similar approach in which they didn't go for a force buy, and they get the buy-in on the following round, as you would. The thing, though, is that there is always shortcomings with that buy because you can't have the AWP. You'll be limited on the utility if you want to opt for the firepower. Oh, hello. 7, maybe with a chance. There it is. All right. So we'll get the UMP stolen away.
I didn't see or hear the glass get broken on this window pane. So I'm not sure who smashed it. I'll assume it was Azza. But he got a lot of information in this round, and now ENCE will try to swap. So they'll do what they can. They'll try to make it somewhat expensive. Those are 2 frags they find themselves with now, and Ariel's the last man standing. Got himself an AK-47 though. Distraction being run from one rifle, and another one to collect the final frag. And here we go, 8 to 9, 3 players surviving for Renegades. All good in the hood, and it's time to buy for ENCE.
Yeah, we'll see where the shortcomings are. And as I mentioned, because if you're on the T side and you understand specifically how much money your opponent has and maybe that they can't get full utility, sometimes it's just a clue that they're going to play a bit more aggressive because they will have more disadvantages playing those slower rounds, those late rounds with less utility, so they'll want to get a kill early. So we'll see what ENCE do if they try to go for a play like that or if they just try to play very passive here on this CT side. Ariel will take a forward position behind the smoke. He doesn't really have too much support though, so you can see he backs away, just trying to get that early information.
Alu moving around the vents just in case. They're keeping a keen eye on that. You can see Renegades are lined up to deploy some grenades outside. Alu may do some spotting. Now at this point, there's a minute 20 on the clock. ENCE have 1 flashbang. So if they want to make a play around Secret or something like that, or anywhere else, they've got 1 flash with which to do it. Alexi B looks to be deploying it somewhere. Out the flash goes. There we go. But they're not in position to do anything with it. The smokes are up. They've been isolated from their positions, and Alexi B has been taken out. JKS has been traded by Sergey. But you can see the nervousness from Ariel. He has no idea what's going on. He looks like he's in a really nervous situation.
Yeah, the trade is very likely here. Ariel's got a lot of work to do with this M4 to try to do what he can, but he can't find anything, looking the wrong direction. X7 will get a trade from Hell, but there's much more work to be done. Down to half health, they know exactly where he is. Gratisfaction takes the challenge. Dancing around the crate with the Krieg is a play that will work out, as now it's just 2 remaining for ENCE. As Alu tries to capitalize on the push into Hell, but they just cannot win these 1v1s, James. And now it's up to Sergey. He's picked up an AK, which I believe he stole from JKS, but it's going to be difficult. He'll be going down the vents. They don't. Oh, this Bias is waiting, and that will be a wrap. Great round from Renegades, and once again, we have this situation. ENCE just couldn't find a way to take the initiative with their utility. It felt like that flash outside had to be more.
That was a terrifying to watch from ENCE's point of view. Again, they had almost no utility, fair enough. The flash comes out, but the smoke grenades were in the right place for Renegades, so ENCE weren't able to do whatever it was they wanted to do. But then while the smokes were up, they just seemed to be in bad spots, but not really choosing to move back, just being in such a deep committed position and looking in 2 almost opposite directions. Like, that's just terrifying to watch, basically. So they just got picked apart. Renegades pulling the scab off the wound and now rubbing some vinegar in there as well. Sergey with Kevlar and a Desert Eagle will be having a look-see, having a look around. ENCE are at maximum loss bonus. So again, he's just trying to keep that T economy honest as they look to start off on the right foot in the next round. Nasty. That's a nice frag. It will draw attention. Got some grenades to limit his options. Gratisfaction doesn't want to go too far. No need to give a 1 versus 1. Okay, unless you're supremely confident and you just don't give a damn, in which case, more power to you. Double figures now for Renegades.
Absolutely. And this round will be very different because ENCE won't feel, I think, the pressure that we had on that previous buy round where they were low on utility to try to get some action happening early on and then just being denied. We're going to see the AWP will see the full amount of utility behind this buy for ENCE. So they're in a position going into this round where they should be very confident and they can play that slow roll approach. Renegades, on the other hand, they're going to realize that too. They understand that they need to, if they have a really good round, James, I think we need to see it here. And Renegades can then assert the momentum of that.
I do wonder if ENCE spent too much money in that eco round, because when you look at the full buy here, they don't have all the grenades in the world. Ali had to be dropped in AWP because he didn't have enough cash to buy one himself, although X7 is still holding it for the time being. But you can see that there's a few players who are missing some grenades, so I do wonder if they just invested a little too much in that previous round. So maybe X7's playing a spawn, we shall see. He's going towards the ramp with the AWP, and in the meantime, Renegades take position in the lobby. No AWP for them. Gratisfaction does have a scope, however. He's got the Krieg instead. Azza looking to cause some problems outside, while Renegades look to focus on the ramp.
Yeah, X7 had that most forward spawn. Oh, there goes the flash. That is beautiful. X7 barely had any time to react to that one. And just that, just like that, $200, boom. You got yourself wrap control, you got yourself the lower bomb site control, and X7 is all he can do to communicate to his teammates. But Renegades are already on top of the site. What a fast-moving round. X7, that's a fantastic shot straight to the face of Granite's faction. And he will be able to hold on to some of those more forward positions that Renegades really need. The push comes out of the door, and Jacob can't defend it.
That is rude from ENCE. They've got a man advantage. They so need this round, and they need all these players to survive. ASROCK has time. If ENCE are nervous, they might make a mistake. There are 3 players alive. 2 of them are heavily tagged. You can see Alexi B, I think he's got an elevated position, which will make things more difficult, but still, ASROCK, that was a bad peak for him, but he still got the kill somehow. 19 HP. 2 more players to find. You see X7 repositioning. Again, ENCE, I don't think they've won a round in this half so far, and this has to be a nervous situation. He could be moving into a crossfire. He's got to be careful. Try and check all the angles. There's a distraction being run, and Ali will deliver the kill. But that extra frag from ASROCK may go a long way in the future rounds. The score is tied, but it really does feel like all advantages for Renegades at the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. That extra kill could really be huge, and honestly, you know, it's so scary that individually Renegades are overpowering ENCE in most of the time. As you say, that peak is actually a terrible peak. Like, not only is like a left eye peak versus the right eye peak, the other, you know, you're against an elevated position. So kind of nutty that he picked that one up. But ASROCK's really showed up to this major.
I did wonder if Renegades would cool off after the break from the previous stage, because they were all running super hot like lava. But here they are, as they're still doing damage towards the end there. And the score is tied, but they do look so much more dangerous. And just the expressions on their faces, yes, not the most expressive necessarily on a good day, but after winning the pistol in the first half, we saw frustrations, at least in the communication, it seemed on the cameras. So I do wonder where their heads are at, ENCE, but they're still in with a chance. 10-10 at the moment. Lexi B on the Mag 7. They've got a better situation in terms of grenades. This might be a fast one into the A-bomb site with a grenade from ASROCK being lined up. Lexi B's got no idea there's a player behind him. No idea whatsoever. JKS wipes out the A site. This is a disaster for ENCE very, very quickly indeed.
Oh my God, they don't have any money. They actually just have to save. They just have to straight save. In the first 20 seconds of the round, a save is called. That is brutal. What a timing coming in, and indeed, as you mentioned, you know, the Mag 7 not understanding that JKS was so far forward. JKS with those entries, so violent, just swinging through with 2 instant picks, and that's really created problems here for ENCE. Their money, this could be another situation, James, where they're just battling to just have money for the entire half, as we saw on the first map, and we know how that went for them. Ariel, you can see, might be the next player to have contact, trying to hold on to the AK-47, so critical that he holds on to this. And Renegades don't have great money either, so you can see that they are being slightly more conservative, not really committing for the hunt. And there it is, 11-10.
Just like that. Blink of an eye and the round is over. If the T side can keep a CT side living paycheck to paycheck, then there's so much you can do. And it forces the CTs into conservative decisions, into being afraid, into being nervous. Renegades have not allowed, in this entire series, ENCE to have a feeling of comfort, of confidence at all, on either half in any round. One round won by ENCE in this half so far. This is the CT side of Nuke.
Yeah,
we were talking about the shortcomings for Renegades, but look at ENCE.
Absolutely, they are in trouble, for sure. Alu, though, has the AWP looking for that fast play through the door, and it will not happen. Renegades are playing a slower round. They're focusing towards that outside control, and they're also looking for any plays, any forward pushes that could be made for by ENCE. Obviously, there's so many different aggressive setups you can have on the CT side, so many things that you have to worry about if you're a T side to clear. And really, it's just going to be Alu, and how much can he do here? He's got, actually, no, he's got Ariel from main as well, who can offer something, although the smokes will come in to deny information. Ariel is committing himself here. How many can he get? The flashbang comes out. Renegades checking it. That's beautiful work from them. Very cognizant of these forward plays, and now ENCE are in trouble.
No support flashes that I could see for Ariel when he went down there. Ali was smoked off, but I didn't see any utility, just some pot shots to try and run distraction, and there are problems for ENCE again. Just shy of a minute on the clock for Renegades to capitalize on their advantages to pull ENCE out of position. They've got to worry about B. They need to worry about the Heaven position being flanked as well. Renegades still have their options available to them, and how on earth could you possibly try to go down this vent as an ENCE player unless the players towards the ramp are successful. The MP9, maybe they did it. There will be frags elsewhere. Sergey being taken out. There's a quick peek, and Liaz is going to die while the bomb's getting planted. Spray from Gratisfaction. 2 versus 2, doing the best he can, looking for that second player to come through, and it's Alexi by the double doors.
That is so huge that that information just came in the doors there. So Gratisfaction knows where the last 2 players are. He needs JKS to activate to get him out of trouble. JKS needs to push faster. Gratisfaction will be pushed down in the corner, trying to survive for as long as he can, but they don't know where JKS is. Maybe, just maybe, enough time was bought and holding the defuse. There goes JKS! He picks it up, and that is so bad for ENCE. I cannot express it enough. What a save from JKS. Swinging in at the perfect moment. Gratisfaction buying time so that he could actually go and do that to make that play to save the round. And Renegades, James, they move to 12. They're 4 away from 2-0ing ENCE here and making their way to the semi-finals.
This is absolutely crazy. I don't know if there was some confusion in the comms or something, or ENCE were convinced that the player was coming from Decon. Double doors were open for business, and it was 3 kills towards the end of that round for Renegades. And ENCE are in a forced buy situation. They've got almost no utility. They've not had any success really on the outside. Aerial, they may be good for 2. He won't be. Fast moving around now. Alu looking for T's, moving into the A site and moving along the outside, being really careful. You can see the nerves here for ENCE. They've got a man advantage for the time being, trying to keep control of that squeaky door position. It's been blown off, and that might come into play later.
And once again, there's no nades now really for ENCE at this point. Oh, the miss there is huge. What a huge miss from Alu there. That is a problem. I don't know what you're going to do about that, because now the bomb site's gone. That was a shot that's supposed to connect, deny entry, and now Alexi B swings in, gets punished by JKS, gets caught out of position, and JKS doesn't stop, gets himself a triple in this round. And Renegades, they shouldn't have been able to make that work so clean, James.
ENCE, I don't know if they're having a giant adrenaline dump or what, but honestly, like, the score doesn't tell the story. Look at the half. Look at the half. It is 7 rounds to 1 for ENCE on the CT side of Nuke. They're not having success outside. They're not having success inside. They're being out-aimed. They're being out-fragged. They are being dominated and exploited by the likes of Renegades, who are 3 rounds away from a 2-0.
Oh, you can see how bad that feels. The frustration there for Alu. For me, you know, I really had this series as pretty much everybody else did. I felt like it was just going to be won on the map pool. I felt like Renegades wouldn't match up against ENCE's map pool, and that was going to be a wrap, and that a 2-1 would maybe be the best case. But Renegades here have shown their focus and have shown their preparation, their composure. They had a rough couple months leading up to the major. You could see that, you know, they went down 0-2, James. They managed to fight their way back. They ran it all the way back, and over the course of the tournament, they started to, you know, get rid of that ring rust, started to, you know, really feel out their gameplay. And look at them now, peaking at the correct moment, but it's not done just yet. Although that said, ENCE are in a very weak position now. They're on a save. They do have a few dangerous weapons, but ultimately, they don't really have that much.
ENCE are in so much trouble. They've been in trouble since the beginning of the series, and it has not improved. It has not got better, it's only got worse. Renegades in full control. These rounds haven't been much of an issue. There was a scare maybe once in this series so far, and they deal with it for the most part. Gratisfaction to 180, okay. And there it is. Doesn't matter at this point how many frags you get. It's 14-10.
Yep. And this is that spot too where the experience starts to be really important. You're about to get it over the line. Everything looks like it's stacked in your favor. Everybody's hitting their shots. You know, the other team looks like they're broken. They're whiffing. The pressure's getting to them. You are in the position where you can just clinch the match. And that's the spot where you have to make sure you don't defeat yourself. But I do think that Renegades, all these players, they have a lot of experience now. They should be good to go, keeping themselves focused until it's the job has been done.
With the consistent performance we have seen of late from Renegades, you do wonder how far they can go. Big round for ENCE. It has to be now. It has to be now. They can't fail anymore. They can't be dominated anymore by the likes of Renegades, who are looking for some kind of aggression. There are more grenades now for ENCE. You can see those grenades around main. They've been such a problem for ENCE to deal with, but this time they won't be in awkward positions on the outside. They won't be isolated, trying to look in 2 directions at once. Renegades lining up around that squeaky position in the meantime, with angles towards the roof. Alexi-B's going to get taken out. They've pulled plays out of position. The flashbangs are still good. Sergey, can he find two? He's got to find two. He does. He keeps them in with a chance. X7's got to be careful. He can't fight to the death. He can't make it 1 versus 3 for Aerial.
Oh, the bomb's gone down as well. Aerial will pick up a frag. X7 swings in at the perfect moment, but now it's down to Azza. He has a lead on the health. He's only got a couple flashbacks, but he has plenty of time. Aerial nails it. Azza's done. And then stay alive for another round in this one, but their money is not perfect, James, and Renegades have very deep pockets, so they're going to be loving it.
That could be a blessing in disguise for Renegades. It's going to be harder for ENCE to defend with less than they had in the previous round, but it seems we do have a crowd here after all. They've been quiet for a while. 3 rounds behind are ENCE. It's not too late to turn things around, but this time they're fighting with pots and pans. MP9s, French guns are out. There are 3 defuse kits on the 5 players. Could be a fast one from Renegades. We've got smoke grenades to isolate Aerial from his position. LXB with the MP9 can't even get a crosshair in the right place. Sergey's in a horrible position. Again, can he find 2? He can't. Look at all the frags. Alu, it's 1 versus 4 with 1:35. And he is going to be hunted. Surely Renegades are on the cusp of something great.
Alu will do what he can. Needs to keep this up really if he can, and getting a forward kill will be a good way to do it, but there it is, a better peak for Gratisfaction, and 15-11, match point for Renegades, looking at securing a spot in the semi-finals here at the Berlin Major. I think pretty much everybody, except Chad of course, had them pegged to be defeated against ENCE. Even though Alexi B is on the way out, it didn't seem to really impact the team and their performance in the stages of the major leading into this. But now we see the weakness, but also I think more importantly, we see the hard work, the grit, the determination, we see the strength from Renegades, and it is something to witness. I'm really enjoying thoroughly the Counter-Strike that they're showing us.
Tack timeout from Renegades, keeping the focus. The game is not won yet. You're still playing a very dangerous opponent, a very high-ranked opponent, and they're only 4 rounds behind. They've got nothing to fight with, but nothing can be taken for granted. This half has been 9-2 for Renegades. ENCE have gone missing almost all the time. They've been reset every time they've won a round, and there are almost no more rounds to win for them. Only 4 players with SMGs, X7 with a Deagle. You can't have a round prepared for something like this if you're ENCE. Surely, this is it for Renegades.
Yeah, I mean, these are the ones, right, that are very dangerous because the pacing of them can be very quick and very difficult to prepare yourself for. So, Renegades trying to... they had the pause. They know exactly what's coming in this round. They know that ENCE are on the ropes economically. They know that ENCE are going to be buying everything, that there's going to be SMGs, there'll be forward setups, there'll be all kinds of tricks. ENCE have to pull every single trick out of the bag to stay alive. And Aerial will be perhaps the first hurdle for Renegades as they start to progress in the outside positions. Lots of presence shown here from Renegades. No smokes just yet, though. We'll see them thrown across just now. Always trying to mix up the timings of that. There goes the push. Aerial will catch one, pushing out with those smokes from main. There's a chance here for ENCE. In comes Jacob for the punish. Wow, okay, that fair enough. The UMP, the vertical shot works out for Aerial.
40 seconds for Renegades. Alexi B's in a really tough spot to deal with. Liaz has got a pre-fire, a different angle, but he walks through at the wrong time. It's a 5 versus 2. Maybe there was no need to push forward, but how could you expect someone to be there? 30 seconds and it could be a question of damage at this point for Renegades, because if they take players out, if they stop them from collecting rifles, should they lose the round, then that might be enough for the rounds to come. Oh, Sergey, he's being careful. He's showing presence, but maybe it's best to fall back now with the MP9. 14 seconds remain. They've got to find some players to frag at least. Alu showing some presence, and there's Sergey from the back. And ENCE make it to 12.
All right, so so there's a couple of things going on there, of course. One, again, Renegades perhaps not going to have the cleanest drills when it comes to handling rounds like that. And it seemed like they didn't quite know what to do, especially after losing a fight against Aerial there, when he picked a really good timing to swing out as those smokes came in from Renegades. And then they just slowed down, and the SMGs are so fast moving. However, it feels like they're up against rifles again now, James. They've been successful the whole half against rifles. They should be fine.
Where are the ENCE fans at? You better make some noise for your team if you want them to win. That said, it's not too late to defect to Renegades. I'm sure Chad will forgive you. 1 minute 40. JKS is creeping. Will he be seen in the corner of the smoke? Alexi B's looking for it. He doesn't see him. That's a huge headshot for JKS. Closer to the smoke normally means a disadvantage, but Alexi couldn't see him. He couldn't see him, and it's a big 5 versus 4 for Renegades. That's the advantage he may have been fishing for in a previous round, and maybe it'll be enough this time. Again, it's not too late to defect. Turn your jersey inside out, maybe. But ENCE are still in this. They are still the ones with the map control, despite them being 4 versus 5.
And you have a handful of flashbangs now, and the push comes in towards that lobby position. X7, he's going to make this huge, but it's absolutely nothing. It's all Renegades there. Alu is all that stands. 4 versus 1. 3 angry Aussies and an angry Norwegian there, ready to take this series against ENCE to push themselves into that semi-finals. All that stands in their way is Alu coming up into the heaven position, looking to get his first peek. He will be denied. Renegades through to the semis.
Massive performance from Renegades. They did not allow anything there for ENCE. Complete asphyxiation. That is a very big statement to the rest of the teams in this tournament. Renegades continue their consistency.